I'm not a basketball guy, so it doesn't really.
Um, six, next Monday at the Moutoir. That's what I'm shooting for.
Monday, okay.
Yeah, I have been trying to accommodate everyone and their schedules, but I just can't. So we've got to get going with that. So I'm thinking the 22nd at the Moutoir.
Okay.
Recording?
We are recording and
Okay, thank you very much, Council. Today is Tuesday, June 16th, 2026. It is 6 p.m. and I will call this regular meeting of the Barre City Council to order. The first item on the agenda is adjustments to and approval of the agenda. Mr. Manager, anything for us?
Mayor, I think the only adjustment is Councilor Guston requested to remove item 8F, and that will just be postponed to the next meeting.
Okay, got you. And Council, I'm going to suggest that we swap items 8A and 8B. They're a little backwards. If we have not approved the expansion of the Planning Commission, we can't appoint additional members. So we're just going to swap A and B, just for order. Anything else, Council? Okay, motion to approve the agenda as adjusted would be in order. Thank you.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, thank you very much. The motion carries. Under visitors and communications, anyone wishing to address the council regarding an item that is not on the agenda? Yes, Connie.
That's on the screen.
Oh, so I had called Connie, but Connie, does she have something you wanted to say?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
I didn't do my audio. My usual thing, bicycles on the sidewalk. Either we should get signs or repeal that ordinance because it's never enforced. And while we're repealing that, we may as well repeal the Jake Brake Run too, because none of the truckers know that they're not supposed to use Jake brakes in the city. So I don't know why we have an ordinance against it. Okay, but it's mostly the bicycles. We have the electric bicycles now. We have the teenagers going 50 miles an hour down the sidewalk. It's very difficult. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am, did you want to address the, sure, certainly, come up. And if you would not mind stating your name for the record, that would be great.
No.
Thank you.
Hello. This is my first time, so I'm nervous. Maril Cray.
How are you?
Good.
It's all yours.
So I made some notes. It's bigger than it looks bigger than it is. It's just old person, big print. So I'm here to discuss what's been going on with lots 15 and 21 on Hilltop Avenue. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if the council is aware of what's going on, so I don't want to bore you with everything. And I want to give a big shout out to Sonia because she met with another neighbor on the neighborhood and myself. And so that meant a lot. And plus the neighbor has historical information from when these lots first came into being in 2011. And so I guess in November, and Nicholas can correct me, November 2025, this started up this discussion about taking over these lots and having a business grow their product on these lots. Mm-hmm. They've been grass lots since 2011. So, but none of us knew about it until May of 2006 when we saw some plastic on one of the lots. And one of the neighbors came to me and said, "What's with the plastic?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then one neighbor bounded out and said, "Oh, this tea company's coming in and they're going to do all this." And they contacted you, and we were like, "No," and the city didn't contact us up. And so that day I left to do some errands, and then the business's business card, their product, everything, the whole spiel was in my mailbox illegally, talking about what's going on. So it looks like this LLC mentioned reducing the city's maintenance by not having to mow the lots. I'd be curious if you have a breakdown of what you spend per year mowing these lawns, because it's a short growing season in Vermont. Or you could do the no mow May and just extend it through our short growing period instead of mowing it. That would just keep it like it is, but, and then there's a consultant, there's some, I don't know if the mitigation of these lots are still taking place, are they?
It's intermittent.
It could have been?
It's intermittent.
It's intermittent. So I think it's important for the council to look on how much the city's been spending mowing these lawns for the summer compared to all this investigation, looking into Lot 21 that has a tank underneath it. And so they were saying saving the city time from mowing it and maintaining it. But the other day, one of the city workers was over there working on Lot 15. So when did you stop paying a city employee to maintain that lot?
That would be a good question for the manager.
Yeah, I mean, we maintain it, reduces the cost of maintenance, the time of maintenance. There's still some maintenance that happens there. So, yeah, it's something that doesn't go away entirely.
So when you turned it over to this business enterprise, the city still maintains
So
it?
I want to correct that. We didn't turn anything over to a business
Yeah, I
enterprise.
was going to say, ma'am, I
So-
haven't, as you were speaking, I didn't recall anything coming before the council, any sort of real estate lease, and anything related to real estate, if it's a binding contract, has to come before the council. So you had me a little bit at a
Oh,
disadvantage
okay.
because I
Well,
wasn't aware.
It's an LLC, and
I can explain so these are FEMA buyout lots that the city owns
Yep.
as a result of
I think
buyout.
we're all
So-
familiar with the lots
Yeah,
on
so there's
Hilltop.
no-
My mom lives at, well, I
Yeah.
can't tell you where she lives because
Yeah,
she'll
she
yell at
lives
me, but
right
she lives on
next door.
Hilltop.
So there's no lease, there's no agreement with a business. This is a woman-owned business that's based in Barre that sells tea and does a wonderful job. And it's a beautification of lots that are vacant, and it's, they're able to plant gardens on vacant lots to make them look more beautiful and help a business that works here in Barre is woman-owned.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
And it was approved by Vermont Emergency Management. There's very few things that can happen on a FEMA bought-out lot. We were contacted by this individual who runs this business based in Barre, and asking about beautifying these lots that we own that are underutilized. And this seemed like a wonderful idea to both beautify a neighborhood and help a woman-owned business in Barre thrive. And doing so on a lot that's owned by the city, that's underutilized, that could be more beautiful with these gardens, and is approved by VEM. So there is absolutely zero lease or contract or agreement or arrangement with the private business. This is an individual who's basically volunteering their time to make a neighborhood lot more beautiful. And it has the added benefit of helping their business, which, as I said, again, is a woman-run, Barre-based business, which seemed like a very valuable thing to do on a vacant, underutilized lot in the city.
so when this LLC presented the landowner agreement, so that was never signed?
Landowner agreement? It
In
was probably
November-
signed by the city. We probably signed a landowner agreement when we received the land from FEMA.
It says in November 2025, the city began communicating with the LLC regarding their business plan involving these lots. The LLC provided the city a copy of their landowner agreement outlining the use, terms, and access to these lots.
Yeah, it's basically how they're going to use it, but it doesn't grant them any ownership or other rights on it that anyone else doesn't have. So as a resident, people can still enjoy these lots as they are. They're just beautified. So there's no rights transferred to them. The city owns the lot. The city has to own the lots in perpetuity. The city is barred by federal law from transferring any ownership rights of these lots or any property rights over these lots. This is basically codifying what they're going to do and to make sure that they comply with the very strict FEMA rules. So there's been we're barred from making any sort of transfer of ownership or any other property transfer to this,
Okay,
on this
that's
lot,
good.
or any other lot that we buy from FEMA.
Because that was the issue with the neighbors on Hilltop Avenue, is that we were surprised, to say the least, when we found out all this was happening. So just to clarify that the public can still walk their dogs on these lots as they've always
They're
done
public
since
lots.
2011.
They're public lots, yeah.
Yeah, oh, great, because people have been afraid to utilize these lots now that all this plastic and stuff is going on these lots. So
I
that's,
encourage you to visit the Brook Street Garden, which was also a FEMA buyout lot on Brook Street, and the neighbors there have done a beautiful job, wonderful job
Well,
of making
that's-
them, I'm just giving you an example of another part of the city where this was really successful and really worked out really well. I encourage you to visit Brook Street Garden, where the city bought out several properties, 2015 maybe?
It was 2 on Brook Street.
Yeah, 2 on Brook Street.
Yeah.
And the neighbors there have done a wonderful job. It's a wonderful resource for the community. And it's beautified what was also a vacant, underutilized lot and has become a really nice hub for the neighborhood. And so I encourage you to visit that. That's a similar idea of what could happen on these hilltop lots. And like I said, with the added benefit of helping a woman-owned, run, berry-based business, which is beautifying these lots that were just grass before.
can I say something? Okay. So I guess underutilized is all interpretation, because we never felt our lots, your lots, the city
City's
lots,
Yep.
were underutilized. People were using them, enjoying them. Dog walkers, we'd all talk and be there. And so we didn't feel it was underutilized. And so it's an interpretation where a business wants to come in and grow their product compared to the people who live there, and the historical knowledge, and the mayor knows this, that these lots would remain as they are. In fact, when we met with Sonia, she could support this. The neighbor that, sadly, she couldn't make it tonight, she was really upset because she said she was so impressed with the mayor at the time, who's our mayor now.
Well, it's a low bar, to be clear.
She was, and then I wasn't there, but she was there, and she said, you were so good about, you felt very strongly about the people of Hilltop Avenue having a voice of what they envisioned for these lots. And all of them said, we just want them green, how they are, and that's how they remained. And that was the historical knowledge too. When I bought my home, for those who don't know, I live between them. That was a selling thing. But the point is no one on Hilltop Avenue knew this was coming down. And so most of the neighbors just feel really disrespected that they weren't given the opportunity that you gave them in 2011 to have a voice in the matter of changing how the neighborhood looks and interacts with these lots. And so, yeah, it's been upsetting. And so really only one person on Hilltop Avenue knew about this, and that was even more of a slight. And so when the LLC was saying that their business model, or at least they go around and find these underutilized lots, or a lot of times they go to landowners and say, Don, can we grow our tea on your land? And they said yes or no. Hilltop Avenue residents didn't have that choice. It was just, all of a sudden, it started in 2025, and then in May of 2026, we're like, what's going on? And so we just recently learned that this LLC is now targeting Lot 21. And so, again, we're in the dark about what's going on, and so we just want to be kept in the loop. And even in an email, the LLC is saying, looking forward to the results of the consultant looking over the lots, and keep us in the loop, because we'd like to go on Lot 21. And the neighbors are going, no, what's going on? I was like, I don't know, but I'll go to the committee and see if I can get educated about what's going on.
Okay, so, yeah, of course.
Question. So do they come in here and do they rototill the lawn up and then plant the tea? Is that, or these lots, I mean, how large is, I'm pretty, I don't know a lot about this.
I don't know, this has been a real learning experience for me, but one of the issues is comparing these long-standing grassy lots compared to agriculture.
So they do have to rototill it, so to speak.
I don't know exactly, she talks about a team, but I don't know what that looks like at this point. And one of our questions is, how are they going to water this tea? Do you know how?
Well, what I'm going to suggest, and I appreciate that several of you have your hands up, but our next meeting, we actually have a 4:30, our next meeting, we have an earlier 4:30 start, correct?
Yes.
On the 23rd. Next meeting after that is
Schedules for July 14th.
July 14th. I don't believe anyone is going to be doing, expanding any activities, is that correct? Between now and July 14th?
Believe so.
Okay, well, let's make sure they don't. And why don't we visit, does everyone know that where the lots are on Hilltop? Why don't we visit there and we'll publish it. It'll be warned because it will technically be a special meeting of the council at 4:30 on July 14th. And you can tell your neighbors, and we can have a look at things ourselves, and we can have a conversation with the neighbors, and that way we'll be a little better educated. And I'm not trying to cut you short, ma'am, but I try to be generous with people who come in, and if they have something important or something that's important to them and they want to address the council, I try to be generous and let them speak. I'm not the guy who holds them to 2 minutes, and it's been around 15 or so.
Okay, I appreciate
So
that.
would that be okay?
Yeah, so that's.
That way, July 14th
At what time?
at 4:30.
And in this building, in this?
No, ma'am,
room?
we're going there. We're going to Hilltop Avenue.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
that's nice.
Can I get
That
your
way
name
we can
again?
spend up to, give or take an hour talking to the neighbors and seeing things for ourselves. And hopefully we can get the user of the land as well. And it will also give the council a chance to get a little background on this matter.
Because the thing that everybody talks about, how lovely the woman is, and, you were even saying a young woman, it's not that, it's.
No,
Thank you.
I understand. Listen, I understand
Yeah, it's bigger than that, it's just that, keeping.
that we have to accommodate everyone. As the manager said, we haven't granted anyone exclusive use or exclusive rights. And, I understand that the neighbors may be fond of the lots and they may want to walk their dogs or just walk there themselves. So I think it would just be helpful for the council to see the situation firsthand and then chat.
Yeah, that's very good, because one
Yep.
neighbor comes out and tells everybody
Yeah,
about it, but,
We'll do that on the 14th at 4:30.
hey, thank you.
Promise. You're welcome.
I will host tea and
Thank you. Yeah, if it's about Hilltop, we're all set. Yeah, we're good until the 14th. Okay. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Kat? I'll give you a few minutes.
No, I mean, I'm for it. It beautifies the
Okay.
community.
Okay, well, what I was saying before you came in is on the 14th of July at 4:30, the council's going to be there so that it'll give us a chance to get a little background on this matter. And also we can see things firsthand for ourselves and speak to the neighbors.
Great, I'll have refreshments ready.
Okay, don't tell my mom. Thank you. She'll come over. Okay, under visitors and communications, anyone else wanting to address the council regarding an item that is not on the agenda? Okay, then we will move on to the consent agenda. Council will be approving the minutes of the meeting of 6/2/26. Do you have any office licenses and permits?
Oh, I do.
Go for it.
Okay. Capstone Summer Celebration. These are all events. Capstone Summer Celebration scheduled for August 22nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on their Capstone property in Gable Place. Boyce Street Block Party scheduled for July 18th with a rain date of August 1st. It is being held from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Boyce Street. They hope to close off the street. And then Faith Community Church and Enough Ministries is going to be holding a service in Courier Park on July 19th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Thank you. And also, council will be asking you to approve the manager's separation agreement that was in your packet. We'll be asking you to approve the guidelines for awarding community microgrants that was also in your packet. We'll be asking you to approve the revolving loan fund application for the Headworks project that was also in your packet. And we will be authorizing the manager to execute the contracts. There are three. One is for the water main replacement on Seminary Street. You had the bid tabulation sheet in your packet. That bid is being awarded to that bid is being awarded to Waters Excavation, Inc. We also have a TIF administration contract with Treasurer Carol Dawes to pay her $45 an hour, up from $42 an hour in the last contract to administer the TIF fund. And then lastly, we have a contract with Motorola in the amount of $51,324.65. That's coming from the capital fund, and that is for portable police radios. And with that, council, a motion to approve would be in order. Thank you. And a second, please.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion or questions? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, the motion carries. Council will move to item 4A on the agenda. We'll be approving the city warrants for the week of 6/17/26, and we'll be ratifying the week of 6/10/26. A motion would be in order.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, your abstention is noted.
No abstention.
Oh, you did not abstain?
So close.
You gotta speak up, and if I do miss you, Sonia, I try to glance, but I don't always, so if your hand is up and I miss you, just
chime in.
Yep, come right at it.
Thank you.
Motion carries unanimously. Ms. City Clerk.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I just want to let everyone know the ballots for the August primary are scheduled to be delivered at the end of this week or next week, definitely by June 26, which is next Friday. The state of Vermont does not mail ballots to all registered voters for the primary, only the general. For this election, you will receive 3 ballots. You are to vote 1 and return the other 2 unmarked. Now, the Secretary of State has actually pictured directions on the certified envelope on what you are supposed to do with your voted ballot and the 2 unvoted ballots. So it's very clear. I looked at it, it's like, wow, this is great. So please look at those directions, follow those directions, because if it is out of form of any kind, it's considered a spoiled ballot. We do call or email you if we do find one that is spoiled and give you a chance to correct it. However, if we don't have to do that, that is better. So these are, anybody who has already signed up for absentee ballots, you will be receiving yours as soon as we get them. I've got the envelopes printed in my office for those that have already signed up. And there's plenty of time to request them. You can call the office and request one, or you can go onto your My Voter page on the Elections Division's website and sign up online through the portal. That's all.
That's all.
Yeah.
Any questions? Yes.
Nerdy election question. How many people do you have signed up to get automatic ballots?
At this time, 393.
Thank you.
Any other questions, council? Okay, thank you. Then we will move on. I don't believe we have anything under Liquor and Cannabis
We do.
Control Board. We do?
Yes, we do. I mailed
Go
these
for
out
it.
today. I know it was kind of last minute.
Oh, okay, you did.
Cornerstone, we have first and third class liquor license. Champlain Farms, there's a store at 169 Washington Street, one at 15 South Main, one at 475 North Main. They're applying for their second class tobacco and tobacco substitute. Rossini's on North Main Street is applying for their second class liquor renewal. The Barre Social Club and Barre Elks Club are both applied for their outdoor consumption permits.
Motion would be in order. Thank you.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, thank you very much. Liquor and Cannabis Control Board is adjourned. And it's time for the manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor.
Those next.
Who? On the recreation front, just want to remind people that there's multiple camps being offered this year by the rec department, all ages, various interests. There's a CSI camp, there's a mural camp, young kids camp. So encourage people to sign up online. They're affordable, they're high-quality options, and we give preference to Barre City residents. So if you're looking now with school coming to an end, parents looking for options for their kids, encouraged to check out the rec department for these camps throughout the summer. Pool is still on track to open June 26th with a dive-in movie, so looking forward to that new addition from the rec department as well. The citywide reappraisal informational sessions took place last week. A steady stream of people came through City Hall, and they had 332 total appointments. So a lot of folks were getting information on the process. The abstract will be lodged and formal notices will start going out in the mail in the coming weeks. And the formal grievance process begins in July. So just, we do ask residents to keep coming in. They can get information at the assessor's office, just to remember, to be kind to the staff during the visits. We know these numbers they may be sticker shock, but no one's taxes are doubling just because their assessments doubled. The deadline for round 3 of CDBG-DR applications was today. As I mentioned to the council via email, I submitted 3 pre-applications. One was for the North End buyouts, which had been previously approved by the City Council. One was for North End elevations, which has also been previously approved by the City Council. And one that we had talked about, hadn't formally submitted, but figured we could go for it. It doesn't commit the City Council or the city to anything. It's just a pre-application. One was for 143 North Main Street development. And figured it was better to throw something in and have an option than to not have an option. So as I said, it doesn't commit the city one way or the other. You could decide not to submit an application 143, and if you decide to do it, we will have the opportunity now with the pre-application in by the deadline. All the applications are for about $4.2 million, which is the total available. And I should clarify, they're each for $4.2 million. So they wouldn't all get funded, but frankly, that's what the cost of these projects would be at a minimum anyway. We're in line for the launch of the SEM site software in July. We'll bring you more specific information as we get closer to the date, but that is going well. Also was notified, as we're updating the charter changes that were passed, saw that the governor had signed those into law. So the charter changes passed by the voters in May of 2025 are now effective, and our charter has been updated online with those changes. And those were, as a reminder, it doubled the amount of fund balance the city could retain from 5% to 10%, and it clarified who could be signatories on sales of city property. Currently, it says only the mayor, and the change provided that it would be the mayor, the manager, or any city councilor duly authorized to execute those documents. And then on the public works side, there's a lot of construction going on and will continue to go on through the construction season. Encourage residents to prepare for delays, prepare for inconveniences. We're taking on major projects and they're just getting started for the construction season. So just awarded a contract today for more work. We've done Berlin Street was awarded last week, Seminary Street today. Church Street work will probably continue for another week. And then after all that is done, then the paving plan will start going into effect. So those will start to become disruptions as well. So it's a short season. So the public works crews are out there, and we can expect a little bit more detours as the season goes on. That's it for me.
Questions? Yes.
Can you explain a little bit about what was going on with South Main Street and the closure, then the not closure?
Yeah, we were going to close it, and then we got complaints, and so we reversed it.
Okay.
It was, look, people do a great job every day here in the city. It wasn't our best performance, and rather than go through with it, we did the right thing and walked it back.
Certainly.
And so that work is going to happen on the 22nd, 23rd?
Not confirmed yet, but
Okay,
expected.
tentatively 22nd, 23rd. Businesses will be accessible. There will be a section of South Main Street. It will not be a through street. But if you're going to virtually any business on South Main, you'll be able to access it. It's just that you won't be able to pass all the way through. There'll be a certain point at where, you know, you'll have to go to that business that you wanted to go to and then reverse direction and go back the way you came. You wouldn't be able to drive all the way through. But credit the manager for realizing that it was creating a bit of confusion and a little bit of heartburn, so we walked it back. Simple as
Honestly,
that.
and I appreciate that and respect it as well, you know, when we can do something and then, you know, admit that we were not in the right, or, you know, can do something better, and then we change it, so thank you.
But we're really good every day.
Yeah.
We're rarely perfect. So, yeah, so we'll get that, but we'll make sure that when that date is confirmed, you know, folks will get plenty of notice and they'll understand what's going on. And to anybody that we inconvenience, you know, I apologize. So, moving right along, I'm sorry, any other questions for the manager? Okay.
Not briefly, just not
Yeah,
a
sure.
more of a comment. I just want to make sure that everyone, because there was a lot of good things in the city manager's report. Please make sure you're going to the recreation section of the city website. The listings are phenomenal. There's a ton of really, really good stuff. Michelle is doing a terrific job at just packing opportunities for kids and families. So I just want to make absolutely sure that everyone listening in goes to the city website and checks that out.
Fantastic. Okay, council, we'll move on to item 8A on the agenda. This is formerly 8B. This is, we'll be contemplating and perhaps voting to increase the size of the planning commission from 5 to 7 members. As you recall, it was at 7. We had trouble with the quorum, and planning commission can be at times a rather important committee, and we were having trouble mustering a quorum. So we decided to reduce the number from a quorum from 5 to 7, from 7 to 5. And now, lo and behold, we've got 4 people interested in serving on the planning commission. So I think it's a good thing, and I would recommend increasing the size from 5 to 7 if you're so inclined.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, thank you very much. The motion carries. Okay, council, we'll move right along to 8B on the agenda, formerly 8A. This is our volunteer appointments for the Planning Commission. First up, Wilson. Come on down.
The opportunity.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing well. It's all yours. Take it away.
Yeah, so I am a business owner here in town. Pearl Street Pizza, you know, we're coming up on 5 years now, and I feel like we're finally kind of at a point where I can take a step back and try to be a little bit more involved in the city that I love. I spend a lot of time here. I'm very proud of the fact that I've created a handful of great jobs. I think our presence is really important. Our community involvement is, I think, top notch. We do a lot in different aspects. And I'd like to explore some other avenues for involvement and trying to continue to push myself to better the city. So, yeah, that's kind of my summary in a nutshell.
Great. Thanks. So have you attended any of the meetings or read?
I have not. Truthfully, no, I have not. This is the only kind of appropriate example of interest that I can bring to the table. My brother is a civil engineer, and he focuses on stormwater runoff, and he attends planning commissions all over the state of New York very frequently, and we speak about it often. And that kind of turned into something that jolted this idea to me, where I thought, you know, maybe that's an appropriate thing that I should look into and see if my involvement would be a positive move for the city. So after much consideration and then learning more via the website, which top notch, honestly, I think all the information there is really straightforward and direct. I thought I would throw my name in the hat. So
Great.
yeah.
And I ask everyone this question because it's important, you know, when you make that commitment, and especially with the Planning Commission or the DRB, it's really important that they can count on you, that you're an active member and that you attend the meetings.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah.
you know, I just want to make sure, and I ask every candidate this, I want to make sure that you've thought about that and you're prepared to make that
I've
commitment.
considered that quite a bit. I saw that, you know, a 3-year term is a big commitment. As far as my job goes, it's fairly easy for me to make sure, you know, the second Thursday of every month is not something that I'm really too concerned about. And I certainly hope we're still going to be doing what we're doing here in town. And I'm not going to lose my ambition for involvement anyway. But yeah, I'm here for it. So. Yeah.
Any other questions, Councilor Spaulding?
Sorry, I have a question for the city manager, I believe, not for you, Wilson. I apologize. Can you tell me there are 4 plus the vacant position expiring on the planning commission in 2026? Have those already expired? I'm trying to understand. We have 4 people applying.
Yeah, so what I'm recommending that the council do is basically make all the appointments tonight that you make effective July 1, because there's a couple that have indicated they won't be coming back, but their terms run through June 30th. There's a couple that are vacant currently, so you could appoint 2 people to the vacant ones. I think it's probably cleaner just to do everyone July 1. At this point anyhow, and then they would all have the clean terms that way. And to stagger them, so I've suggested, depending on how many people you appoint tonight, I would alternate terms ending June 2029, and then the next person June 30, 2028. So that way it keeps the commission staggered as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Do we have thank you for your question, Councilor. Do we have a high degree of confidence that some members will not be?
Yes, they formally submitted resignations, yeah.
So we just don't have it yet.
They notified Janet
Chair.
that they were not going to apply for reappointment.
Just wanted to make sure. Yes?
When is the next planning commission meeting?
Ooh.
So it'll be second Thursday in July.
It would be July.
So it wouldn't be till July.
Whatever that date is.
July 10.
I just wanted to make sure there wasn't one between now and our.
No, and they would not, it would not, well, if there is, depending on, again, whether they can muster a quorum because they have members stepping off on the 30th. But we'll have to appoint, as the manager said, as of July 1. Any other questions?
I would move to approve.
Thank you. And a second, please.
Second.
Sure.
It's moved and
Do
seconded.
you want 29 or 30?
Oh, 28.
28, never mind,
28?
29. 29.
29? Okay. Thank you. It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or additional questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, welcome aboard.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madeline Cobb.
I'd just like to say I refrained from asking about upcoming Pearl Street Pizza menu items, and I want you to appreciate that restraint.
May I call you Maddie?
Yeah, that's better. Madeline means I'm in trouble, you know what I mean?
Usually it's when you're in trouble. And just to complete your application, it just didn't print. You are a Barre City resident.
Correct,
You live
yeah.
Okay, that just didn't come through. And then one of the questions was, have you attended a meeting of the public bodies you're applying for?
I have
You may have
watched.
checked the box, it just didn't
Yeah.
come through in my
I
comment.
watched the meetings.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you've watched them, okay.
riveting.
And this will be your softball question, Maddie. You thought about the time commitment, because it's important.
No, it's super important, and yes.
That you make that commitment and that you're prepared to make that commitment. So you are?
Yeah, correct.
Fantastic. Any other questions, council? Yes.
This isn't a question, this is a comment. I can always count on Maddie to text me super interesting planning-related ideas at all hours of the day. So I'm extremely confident that this is a good fit.
I can always count on Maddie to be upbeat and kind. So thank you for that. No,
Yeah,
because
good.
listen, it's not easy running a business sometimes. It's not easy being downtown sometimes. Sometimes it's not easy getting up in the morning. You've always got a smile on your face. You're always upbeat. So just thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. Might as well be, you know what I mean?
Well,
The other option kind of sucks.
like I always told my kids, a bad attitude doesn't solve a problem.
Right,
And they'd
right,
look at
right.
me and say, right back at you.
To ride a motorcycle.
Any other questions for Maddie? If not, then a motion to approve
So
would be in
moved.
order. And then please specify the term if in your motion.
28, I guess, yeah, if we're alternating, was your suggestion, 28.
Okay. 28, any discussion or additional questions, council? All those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, welcome aboard, Maddie.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maddie.
Thank you for all of your work.
Thank you.
Thank you. And to the applicant, you're welcome to stay, but we understand if you don't. So it's all good. It's okay. It's really okay. We take no offense. You've got businesses to run and things to do. Erica.
Good night.
Thank you. Erica. Rossett.
All right.
Yes, how are you?
Hi. Thank you for having me.
And you are a Barre City resident.
I am.
You are. And have you attended any meetings?
I have not, but I did watch recordings
Okay.
since I applied.
You watched. Okay, you heard the two softball questions before. May I call you Erica, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So Erica, you heard the questions that I asked. You understand how important it is that if you're going to be a member of a commission or a body, that you attend, that you're active, that you do the work, and you're prepared to make that commitment?
Absolutely.
Awesome, thank you. Council, any questions for Erica? If not, then a motion to approve. This would be for a 29 term. Is that okay with you? Okay.
So moved
For
to
a
a 29
through
term.
29, moved and seconded, please. Did we get a second on that? Yep. I did.
Yes.
Okay. Sure you don't have any questions? Nothing?
All right,
Okay, hearing none.
how excited are you about getting on the planning commission?
I'm so excited.
See?
We work at a global organization. I'm looking to get more involved locally, so very, very happy to contribute.
Look, it shapes the city. It defines, how we grow, what we look like going forward. It's probably one of the more important committees that we have because and probably one of the most fun because they get to talk about the future and how great it could be. So it's one of my favorite committees. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, welcome aboard, Erica.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that was 29, correct. Erica Lynn Smith. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well, thank you.
May I call you Erica?
Yes, you may.
Okay, thank you. And yours all came through, complete
Fantastic.
application, awesome. So you heard the question about just the importance of being active, doing the work, attending the meetings. Are you prepared to make that commitment if you're appointed?
I am an educator, actually, not in this school district, but in a local school district nearby. And so I have a lot of commitments that I have to do as an educator, but it's always been really important to me to be involved in the communities that I both work and live in. And especially since I live like right up the road from many of these organizations and businesses that are in my city, I plan on being involved.
Fantastic. Council, any questions or yes?
Have you thought about how you're going to differentiate the two Ericas, potentially?
Not yet.
Okay.
That might be the first item on our agenda when we actually meet.
There you go. Council, any other questions? No, okay. Then a motion to approve would be in order.
So moved.
This would be for the 28 term, by the way.
28.
I'm sorry, can you clarify what that means?
Oh, I'm sorry. You would serve from July 1st of 2026 through June 30th of 2028.
Thank you.
It is a 2-year term.
Fantastic.
You're welcome.
And if you wanted to continue after that, you could get.
Yeah, you can, you just reapply, but we do
I
the
heard those
28 and
words, I just didn't
29
know what they meant.
to just stagger so that we always have experience on the commission.
Fantastic.
Hearing no other questions, did we have a motion in a second? I don't
We
think
did.
we
Yes.
did. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, welcome aboard, Erica.
Thank you.
Again. Okay, council, we're going to move on to item 8C on the agenda. This is to approve a purchase option and development agreement for the Merchant Cleary Street lots for infill housing development. You had a pretty thorough briefing on that in your packet, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, and Mike Zabrowski's here in person to talk about this idea as well. Just to give you the high level, been very excited to, this is another, we talked about a berry business earlier today. This is another really exciting berry-based business. Michael's working out of the Desero property, and if you haven't been by there, if you have, you might have seen some of the houses he's putting together. I'm not sure how to describe them. I'll let him do it, but I think of them as Lego houses. They're the way they come together. I'm sure there may be a better way to describe them that he'll share. But really, the purpose tonight is to introduce the council to a really exciting opportunity for infill development that carries zero risk for the city. What Michael's asking for would be authorization for me to work with him and the city attorney to create a purchase option for lots on Cleary and Merchant Street that we tried to get developed several years ago and got absolutely zero interest because they are really hard lots to develop. Michael has a way to do it, and to really help us bring more units of housing to the city in places where we thought were otherwise not able to develop. A lot of benefits to it I talked about in the memo, including the fact that much like our Seminary Street project, this would take, we might be selling low, but what we would be gaining is tax revenue. These lots currently are owned by the city. They don't create any tax value to the grand list. We had a I want to stress, very preliminary look by the assessors and working with Carol to see what this might generate based on what they might be assessed at, right? So this is super general but based on the information we have, based on knowing what these units look like and how they might compare to other similar units in the city, these could generate approximately $1,900 each to the grand list, right? Which is complete 100. It's full growth because right now these generate nothing. So. The purchase option would give Michael a chance to put together financing component of this project, find partners, find potential homeowners. If he doesn't do that, there's no risk because the purchase option would just not be executed. That's why this is a really exciting opportunity because I think he creates a great product. It allows us to do something on some lots that we don't have an opportunity to do anything on. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. And we have lost nothing but marginal time from the city attorney to develop a purchase option, which I think is a good risk to take. So, Michael, he has a presentation that I'll pull up and to sort of talk more about his concept.
Sure. And sorry about the Lego thing, Mike. It's precision building, okay? I mean, geez, Louise.
Yeah. No, and it's funny, though, I do have to say, my son is obviously an avid Lego kid. He's 11 years old, and every time they come out with a new something piece, I mean, he rushes over, and he's like, Dad, look at this. So you might be treating it on the low, but this kid really treats it on the high.
Awesome.
So, all right, I am going to read because I want to be I'm a precise person. So I am going to say, good evening. My name is Michael Zabrowski. I'm founder of Upend This. I'm a designer, a maker, and a system thinker. I grew up in Buffalo, another Rust Belt city that understands manufacturing, hard work, and reinvention. Next slide, I guess. Yeah.
Yep.
The click. I moved my company to Barre because I saw many of those same qualities here. Upend This comes from a simple idea. In many ways, our world has been turned on its head, and we must find new ways to do things that respond to our current 21st century problems. Next slide.
He needs direction. Just say next slide, please.
I I gotta pause and kind of let myself cruise into it too, so I gotta think, is this the slide I want to change on? That's what led me to housing. I created Satellite as a family of housing products designed for incremental development at scale. I wanted to build homes that are healthy, sustainable, energy responsible, and built locally with care and precision. Next slide. But I realized early that we don't just have a housing shortage. We have a housing production problem. We simply are not producing enough housing to meet the need. So I didn't set out to design another house. I set out to design a better way to make one. Satellite became what I call the Satellite Architectural Manufacturing System. Digital design, CNC fabrication, repeatable production, plug-and-play delivery, but with the care and craftsmanship of a quality Vermont home, still built into the process. I believe we need to utilize the advanced tools we have at our disposal if we want different outcomes that align with our 21st century problems. Next slide. Housing doesn't happen because one person decides to build a house. It happens because systems work together. Cities, homeowners, lenders, employers, and implementation partners all have a role to play. The opportunity I'm sharing tonight isn't simply for homes. It's the opportunity to activate a process, activate the system. Next slide. Over the last several years, I've had many conversations about where this kind of project could work. The properties on Merchant Street and Cleary Street immediately stood out. A strong existing neighborhood, existing infrastructure, and in fact, walkable to our headquarters location. My request tonight is very simple. I'm not asking for a construction approval. I'm not asking for city funding. I'm asking for a 6-month development option so I can assemble the project. Next slide. This idea has already received meaningful due diligence. Director of Planning, Janet Shatney, put together an incredible package that carefully evaluated these sites. She identified 4 buildable lots. She looked at utilities. She looked at building envelopes. The question isn't whether these properties exist. The question is how we activate them. Next slide. The answer isn't 4 identical homes. Different sites deserve different responses. Different people have different needs. A 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, and a 3-bedroom all have place here. Diversity in housing creates resilience in a community. Next slide. This is where the idea becomes real. A healthcare worker, a teacher, a young family, a retiree, a first-time homeowner. Housing isn't just square footage. It's people finding a place in the community where they work and live. Next slide. I intentionally want to start small. 1 lot, 1 homeowner, 1 financing package, 1 success. Phase 1 lets us learn, refine the process, and prove that the model works. Next slide. Then we expand. A slightly larger home, a second homeowner, maybe a teacher who can walk to work. Every project teaches us something, and every lesson improves the next one. Next phase. Next comes greater housing diversity. The first 2-bedroom home, a different household type, maybe a single parent making dinner after work. These homes don't all look the same because the people who live there don't all live the same lives. My satellite system allows for this diversity without inflating costs. Finally, last phase there, the first 3-bedroom home. Room for a family, By this point, we've demonstrated an entire range of housing possibilities on 4 underutilized parcels. Underutilized, maybe I shouldn't say that word. And we've done it incrementally, one success at a time. Next slide. The development path is straightforward. The development option leads to the project development, leads to council review, property transfer, and ultimately a homeowner. The city isn't being asked to build homes tonight. You're being asked to let me build the relationships that the package and the package that makes these homes possible. Next slide. This slide intentionally shows planning level estimates. I already understand the cost of our housing platform quite well. What still needs refinement are site-specific utilities and permitting. That's exactly why am I requesting this development period. The purpose of the 6-month framework is to replace assumptions with actual numbers. Next slide. The city of Barre has already been an incredible partner in this conversation. Walker Construction and Post-Tech are active partners. RK Miles and Efficiency Vermont have been longstanding collaborators of ours. What comes next are homeowners, lenders, employers, and funding partners. That's exactly what a yes vote tonight allows me to go build. Next slide. The first several months are about development, building partnerships, identifying homeowners, refining costs, returning to council with specific projects. Then after approvals, constructions begin. The goal isn't 4 homes appearing overnight. The goal is a steady incremental process that will begin delivering homes in 2027 and beyond. Next slide. For me, success isn't measured by 4 homes. Success is creating a repeatable process that transforms underutilized land into housing opportunities, new taxpayers, local jobs, and a stronger Barre. I moved my company to Barre because I believe advanced manufacturing belongs here. I believe housing can be made differently and should. And I believe these small pieces of land can become something meaningful. Tonight, I'm simply asking for the opportunity to do the work required to prove it. So thanks for your time.
Hell yeah, Mike. Council, questions? Go.
So basically, they're prefab modulars, correct?
They fall in that category, correct?
The board looks like compressed board. Is that compressed board?
It's Advantech subflooring.
Yeah.
Is the primary structural material that's cut with our CNC machine. Yeah.
Where does that fall into the quality of wood, compressed wood? Is it? I always thought it was kind of the low end, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just looking for durability on these.
Yeah. The system I've developed is engineered as a cohesive system panel. So the stresses on the material that you would typically see in a stick frame building with, lumber, right? The lumber, the grain is actually a critical part of it. This is actually an efficiently designed shear panel. So the way that the stresses work with that material is very different than it would if it were, solid grain material.
One more question. Has this ever been tested in the South?
Tested in the South?
Hurricanes, tornado, high winds?
I would love
We
it
seem to be getting that lately in Vermont. No,
Yeah.
There's a hurricane. I was in New Hampshire this weekend. There was a tornado warning over there.
My favorite test, I can speak to a lot of the tests that it's gone through. My favorite current test is actually the unit that's sitting outside the facility right now. It's actually sitting on 6 basic sets of cribbing. I'm gonna move this so I don't keep tapping. And if you look at the structure, it's been sitting there since September. There's no foundation under it. If you look at the structure, it is perfectly straight as an arrow. It hasn't deflected. As the ground has moved, you'll essentially see the rigid, frame of what it is still holding true. It's only been,
So is that like a spec house we can go look at over there? 'Cause
I've
I'm gonna
got,
check
so
it out.
the unit largely that I'm proposing as phase one is getting ready to deliver next month.
Okay.
So I currently have in our shop, in that Desero, main bay space, is a 480 square foot, one-bedroom apartment. Yeah.
So I could stop in and check it out, or
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were there.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
happy
no,
that
this
there's
is really
something that you're in
this is
there.
an exciting moment for me because this is my first formal introduction to the community. So I absolutely welcome.
Well, it looks modern. I mean,
everybody
that's,
to
I
come
mean,
out and
that's,
see.
we're taking it to the next level, which is good.
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.
Councilor Bushwell's next, and then I'll get to you.
So my only question is, I'm fairly aware of that area up there. There is a stream that runs right down through the middle of that.
Yep.
How's that going to affect your lots?
So just like I said with that, kind of quote unquote test unit that's sitting outside, the structure is designed to transport and be stable in itself. It does not require a foundation to do all of the work. So one of the things that I've aligned in terms of technology that we've seen come out in the last few years, as I mentioned, Walker Construction and Post-Tech. If you know Post-Tech, they put those steel foundation piles into the ground. And those have incredible resistance for movement when they reach their pressures and they're installed properly, which is what those guys do extremely well. So the unit that's in the shop right now, which is identical to the one that's sitting outside that I'm mentioning as a test, will actually sit on 8 of those 3-inch, which is their kind of mid-tier pier. And so essentially the building sits on points. So really what is actually interesting about those sites in particular is that this system actually allows for an easy way to actually build on that site where you'd be poking up utilities and the foundation piers to meet the building versus having to really re-engage and rethink, the watershed of that immediate thing. Because you're absolutely right. It comes right down. So the building would actually really act more, and talk about, the South, and I spent some time in the South, more like Bayou, where these are on piers, supported, not moving, but still allowing everything else to go around. It also adds the advantage because one of the things that I saw as I walked and saw these sites over and over again, over the winter and saw it change, is that it doesn't, this system doesn't require the builder to come in and level the whole thing, cut everything down, because there's also something really beautiful about, the trees and the landscape that's actually there because of that, strip. So it would be, and that's why Nicholas really says that, this fits, right? And I think you're pulling out that reason as to why it fits.
Right, thank you.
Councilor Guston?
Council Bergeron asked sort of part of my question, and I guess I want to take this just a step further, which is I understand that the piles will lift the building above the watershed possibility, which would allow water to flow and would address some sort of flooding concerns. Do you have any sense, or are there any other sites in Vermont where something like this is placed, any sense of how the watershed would respond, for lack of a better word, to those piles going in, whether it would sort of change the way it moves or anything like that? Because this is literally in my backyard, so I know that stream very well. I watched it during the 23 flood. It washed out Warren Street, that little brook, and washed out parts of Merchant Street as well. So this is one of the very small streams that we think of that can get quite high and is important for sort of local flood control throughout the city. So I don't know if you could take a step deeper in that, and if has there been any work done on how that watershed would respond?
That I don't know. I mean, I'd certainly be interested in, looking more deeply, but going back to the pile itself, I mean, these are 3-inch diameter posts, right? So if the smaller unit takes 8 to 12 of these, depending on the accessories and what it has, you're not talking about, a real obstruction. So that would be where I would initially just hang my hat, but really just say, I got to hang my hat, look more deeply at what you're asking and be able to speak to it more, with a better understanding of what happens on that site too. Because I see it, I know it's wet, I know there's water like actually literally moving through, what those events look like. I mean, all of that would be of interest to make sure that the way that, the one slide that shows Janet's work of saying this is where, I mean, that's a very, diagrammatic way, but when you put that on that actual site and then say, how does the building really want to sit and which one and where and what direction, those, I think the questions that you're bringing up also, beg to say, well, those are the factors that also help guide those decisions.
Yeah, and I think it would be super interesting answers to have as we think about, the trade-offs we need to make in order to build more housing across Vermont. There are certainly lots of sites that are, on the edge of something or are concerning about something that we need to make sure we preserve their wetland aspect and their flood resiliency, but also like, what can we do? Is this a style of building that could work? And I would suggest to you that there are quite a lot of very smart river folks in the audience right now who might be able to help you understand some of those questions in general and on that site in particular.
Councilor Spalding?
Thank you. My question is the timeline, and based on what you're saying is it sounds like you're going to place, find your first homeowner, go through the development period, that kind of thing. But it seems like it's a very quick timeline, versus like early 27 first home, mid 27 second home, late 27 third home. Do you find all the homeowners at once, or do you find one homeowner and start with that and then keep working on the other homeowners? And I ask that specifically because if you place the first home and then you want to see how it's doing through summer flood season, let's say spring and summer flood season, and then you make a decision about how you're going to move forward with lot number 2, lot number 3. So if you could just give me some more information about that, that would be great.
Sure. I think generally on the timeline, I think my gut reaction is to present what the best path of least resistance, like max, could be. But that, and it is, you're right, it is fast. And I think that's part of what I'm seeing, the production, the way that we move, the vicinity to the site. So there's a lot that could intentionally, but also maybe unintentionally expand that timeline. So I think I certainly am flexible and open to how it's going to best evolve and how it will actually evolve, but that I kind of present based on looking at my business and looking at production and saying, we could do this, right? If these things all kind of went into play, we could make that happen. So that's generally on the timeline. On the finding the partners, there's a flexibility there too, because again, I'm at the beginning of a process here, really asking for the leverage of saying, if I get you folks to say, yeah, go see what you can, rustle up, Michael. That option as to how and who I find. I mean, I would say ideally, it would be great to work with an organization that might say, we want to actually work with you on all 4. And we will say, yes, let's focus on that one. Let's see how that goes. Let's build this next. I mean, that would be kind of an ideal case that, there's a local Barre city, entity that I'm really working with that wants to make that happen. So in that case, that doesn't necessarily become the kind of loose change of going, who am I finding for this one? Who am I finding for that one? But it doesn't necessarily eliminate that possibility that I am kind of, having to figure them out more one-on-one. So I think, I'm optimized in the proposal for thinking about, what could happen, but also very prepared for the fact that, yes, I'm kind of speaking of two things. I'm speaking of something that sounds like a full package altogether because it is, but I'm also talking about something that happens in phases and stages and expands as it goes. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. How long have you been in business?
I started in 2019.
Okay. How many houses have you currently built with your business?
We have built 25 of our modules. We started building small, like backyard offices, guest rooms. We graduated to our first, full bathroom units, which were Airbnbs, hospitality suites. And then over the last year and a half, we've seen our first full-time resident move into a one-bedroom unit. And this unit that we're just about to deliver is our first full one-bedroom solution that is now replicable. And, it's built right in Barre, which is really cool.
Absolutely. I love the business model. I think you're doing really great stuff, it seems like here. What's the potential to maybe do some other infill development within our community? I mean, we've talked a lot about creating those opportunities. There's infill studies and things. Have you looked at any of those as well in order to kind of maybe increase some ownership?
Yeah. No, I mean, I've had plenty of conversations, and I think the direction is to go there. The immediate, what I'm thinking to, as I said, sort of develop this process system aligned with my product is this proposal. So I think based on successes, I'm looking at not a one-off of being the builder that builds those homes, but really looking at, here's the system, here's how it works to, work with a municipality, with, certain organizations, lenders, really put a package together that allows us to get there. Because this isn't, for me, this is really about proving housing that happens on that one-to-one scale. And by one-to-one, I mean, one example would be to say this is not subsidized, right? This isn't requiring something else to make it work.
Right.
This is requiring itself and what we have to actually make it work. And that's why I think what your question is the excitement of going, if this does work, right? If we can prove it, then it's a matter of going, what other infill can we do? Right. What other, locations would this work in? What other, that's where I get really excited too. So
also, the part about the CNC, manufacturing, the part about where, you have different pieces through this project. And it's also really exciting because we talk about the infill development and how those particular parcels can be varied from parcel to parcel. So to see how things can potentially change with your model, it's really exciting. I had no idea that you were even in town. So welcome to Barre.
Thank you.
And really, the only concern I had really going into this was about water and how that was going to flow. And I know that was a conversation that we had last night with several of us. Just flow of water.
Yeah.
But, if we're going to address that and make sure that these are sustainable, I think this is a great project.
Thank you.
Council, how many of you have been to Michael's manufacturing facility? So a couple of us had. We're asking him how many of you have been to his facility.
Oh, no.
Because I'd encourage you to go.
Check it out, yeah.
What impressed me most when I went, Mike, was the quality of what you're building, how you're building it, how you're going about building it, how you're going about building a business. And, your business is a business that will scale.
Yeah.
The only thing holding it back right now is you. You want to get the product right. And I admire that because so many people are sell. And you're about, no, it's got to be the right product. I have to make sure that what I'm building is going to last. And, looking at the quality and the fit and just the fit and finish of the homes that you were putting together was absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
And I know a thing or two about that because normally we wrestle with old buildings that aren't straight.
Right.
And it's hard to get them to look really pretty, but we work hard at it like you do. So listen, I am all over this council. I think, it's a great opportunity for the city. It's a great opportunity for Mike. As the manager said, there's no lose for the city. If Mike is successful, we're successful. And, that's the way it should be. So I'm anxious to work with you. Anything I can do professionally to support you. I know a lot of people in finance. Give me a call. Because I just love to sit down with you in council. If you do, don't bother them too much during work hours. Try to hit it. What's the best time to hit you? Like 9-ish coffee break time, maybe?
I love a good Thursday at 4 p.m. visit. So.
Yeah, but seriously, give
it's
him
the
a
end
call.
of we're actually 3 days a week.
You will be
production right
incredibly
now, so
impressed.
Thursday, the end of the day, is a great time to stop.
Yeah, and honestly, 5 years ago, I was a modular snob. I was, because when I thought of modular housing, I thought of double wides, I thought of mobile homes. That's what we all thought of.
Right.
And what I know now, Karen and I have been to RCM development up in Canada.
Yep.
They're building 200-unit buildings in Boston, in Cambridge. That is the future. Modular is the future of building. And if we're going to build all of these homes that we say we need in Vermont, you can't do it in a 5-month construction season. It just doesn't work. So it's people like you who are producing quality modular construction that goes up quickly. If there are site constraints, it's not a problem. You drop them right in. It's the future of building. Yes.
I would just echo, I've had the opportunity, you were very generous to give me and a couple of other folks a tour of the facility. I would caution folks going because you're going to want one. They are super cool. But with that in mind, I understand the invitation to counselors. It would be lovely if at some point in the coming months, as you're sort of thinking about these projects and other projects here in Barre City, if there were an opportunity for a true open house for folks in Barre City to learn more about these.
I would love to see all of you just for a visit before this unit goes, because that's what happens to us right now, because we're not in full overlap. It's like, here's this beautiful finished thing, and then it disappears, and we're panels and construction. I've got an image here. This was sort of in the early, I think, October, where it feels very like Eastern European, kind of like dark, but it's like it gets to that stage where it's a little more abstract. It's still really cool to see, but right now, the next month or so, and you guys have largely seen it in that state, but it's really getting into its polished form, and I would love to host you.
Wait, do you have a question, ma'am? Yes, may I be recognized? Of course.
Thank you. My name is Robin Castle. I live on Cleary Street. I actually own 2 lots directly across the street from my house that abut the lots that the city owns between Cleary and Merchant. And we have a drainage problem. I've been looking for help with that since July of 2023, when we had the flood event. The water actually overflowed from my property because it couldn't drain out fast enough into the culvert that goes under the 4-bay garage that my neighbor Grace Glynn owns. The water went down Cleary Street, and we had a river for a short period of time. Since then, and because of that event, a lot of silt came in and built up what was a deeper space before. It's probably choking the big silver maple that's there that may come down.
Big, beautiful
At some point.
tree,
I
yeah.
haven't had the heart to take it down, plus I was told it would cost $8,000 to take it down.
Right.
I've spoken with the Agency of Natural Resources. They told me to speak to the Friends of the Winooski. I've done that. They came and gave me a very nice report about how to handle drainage around my house, but they did not have good information about what to do about the culvert that goes underneath the 4-bay garage, which we can no longer see. We've tried by hand to dig to find that culvert unsuccessfully. I think we need help if we're thinking about developing here. I realize I'm liable for this part of, these are my lots. The water's trying to come through. It's getting kind of stuck there whenever we have heavy rains.
This is you here, right? Is this right? Am I right? Because these are the properties, and then that's the one at the base. So this would be, I think Silver Maple is somewhere. Sorry, this is.
I found it on this map. That map is not making sense.
Yeah, okay, that's
But
fine.
I can show you
That's
where I
fine.
am here.
Yep.
So this is my house.
Okay. Yep.
These are my
Okay.
lots.
Right, okay,
That's the garage.
perfect, yep.
So I'm asking for some help with that, understanding that I have financial responsibility to work on this, but I need help about what to do about that, no matter what happens with this development idea.
So, ma'am, if I'm understanding correctly, there's a culvert that goes under your garage? That's
Under my neighbor's
plugged?
garage,
Under your
yes.
neighbor's garage?
But the
That-
culvert starts on my property.
I see. And are you familiar with that, Counselor? Okay.
Very.
Would you mind, could you explain it a little better, or?
So can you call up the map briefly? The stream that Councillor Bergeron was mentioning that goes more or less straight through the bottom of the two properties that we're looking at here. I say bottom because there's also a quite steep hill on the edge of some of these properties.
Just from the presentation?
Yes, please. Immediately next to the last of those, there are two vacant lots that Robin owns. And then because it's sort of a wetland stream area, there's a little bit of sort of infill fill, and then there's a 4-car garage on top of that. And underneath the 4-car garage is a big, long culvert that allows that stream to continue under that garage space and then spit out the other side of where the garage is and continue on its way to a stream where it then goes under, thank you, a culvert again under Warren Street. So we're talking about right here. So this stream, so these two lots are actually sort of up on Merchant. These are at height. The stream goes like here, and then it jogs here. Robin, correct me if I'm getting this wrong at all, but it sort of jogs in here and goes more or less straight. The garage is right here. It's right off screen. Maybe we can, I don't know.
So it's a
Yeah, if we can scroll
culvert
down.
that goes across vacant lots?
No,
or-
it starts on a vacant lot and then it goes underneath a garage.
I see.
Nicholas is going to try and,
Try to make it smaller, see if it.
oh, there it is, there it is. There's the garage. So it goes like that.
And then under the garage?
Yep, under the garage and then back out the other side and then daylights again and then goes under a culvert again under Warren Street where it stays for a while anyway.
Okay.
So it still drains very slowly when we get a lot of rain now, much more slowly than before the flood event of '23. So it's concerning. It's been concerning me for a while, and Grace, Glenn, and I have discussed it a couple of times, but we haven't known what to do about it.
So it's the issue is that the culvert is, you think the culvert is filled with silt?
I think it could be. I can't find the opening to it anymore. It seems buried under silt.
Send Public Works up there. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll send Public Works up there to look at this.
They came up and all they would say to me was, "It's not our responsibility."
Is it?
They're correct. It's
And I said, "I know,
not-
I'm
I
asking for
understand that's
help."
not what people always want to hear. We, not that long ago, had a gentleman in here who had an issue, but it turned out that it was not a city issue, and that's often the dilemma. We can offer some limited assistance. We do have a camera. So if the issue is, gee, we don't know if that pipe is filled with silt or not, that is something the city could help you determine, and I think we'd be happy to do that. But if it turned out that the culvert had to be, that is on private property, had to be jetted, and that's how you clear a culvert. You literally put a Vector truck, the big vacuum trucks that you see, and you jet the mud that's in the culvert. Reason I know this is because I've had to do it on some of my properties. And you jet the mud, you add water to it, and you turn the mud into a slurry, and the Vector sucks the slurry out, and you clear the drain line. So we could certainly, I just want to manage the expectations. We could certainly camera that and tell you what the issue is, but I don't know that ultimately, if it's on private property, that the city could assist you in fixing that. Do you have a question, ma'am?
Not a question, but Mrs. Table.
It's a,
Yes. You can bring a chair with you.
you can drag a chair up if you
I
want.
just wanted to say that it's a mapped city stormwater line that goes through that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That is useful information. That is the city.
I'll talk, we'll have talk to Public Works tomorrow.
And do you have contact information?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, no, I just wanted to make sure if they were going to send someone up, that someone was going to be home.
We'll work that out.
Thank
Right,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, council, back to the item at hand. I think the appropriate motion would be to approve or allow the city manager to draft a purchase option / development agreement for the Merchant and Cleary Street lots for infill housing development. That'll come back.
It'll come back to the
right?
council,
Yeah.
yep.
So you'll see that, but we need to authorize the manager to go ahead and draft that. Motion would be in order.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And a second, please.
Second.
Super. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Council, we'll move on to item 8D on the agenda. This is to consider and approve a Semper Bond Fund allocation for the Friends of the Winooski Jockey Hollow Falls Trail at Rotary Park and the Cow Pasture Committee. Who wants to?
Was going to lead us off.
Yep.
And I'm not sure how much feeding we're doing, but I'm going to get it started, so.
No, that's great. Thank you, Carol.
Carol Doss, City Treasurer, and I prepared a memo for you. I knew that these requests were coming, so I wanted to give the council an idea of where things were with the various Semper Bond funds. And in a nutshell, you can see them listed there with their current values. The Bike Path Fund has a value of a little over $91,000. It was established by Charlie Semperbon exclusively for bike path related expenses. It started out at $500,000. We've got about $90,000 left. The Vermont Community Foundation Annuity Fund. This is Charlie set up a fund at the Community Foundation. We get an allocation from it every year in February, generally about $60,000 a year. And we have used that fund for a number of different projects. I listed some of them here, the kinds of things that we've done. And council has established annual allocations from it for bike path maintenance, for tree maintenance, but it currently carries a balance of a little over $300,000. And then the last one being the Semperbon Bequest Fund, which was the bulk of Charlie's estate, about $2.3 million. And I gave you a list of the various projects that had been funded out of that project, just to give you an idea of the scope.
of the breadth of things that had been approved over time. And that has a current balance of about $600,000. The Cow Pasture Committee, which has one of the requests to come before you today, received a $25,000 allocation from the Semperbond Bequest Fund, and they're coming for another request. They have, as you'll see in their request, they have turned $25,000 into like 60 as far as using matching funds and various things like that. And what they've got planned to present to you continues that tradition for their work at the cow pasture. As far as the Jockey Hollow Bridge project or pathway project, that to me feels like it's in the spirit of the bike path recreation trails kind of focus that the council has used in the past with regards to both the bike path fund that was established just for bike path related kinds of expenses, and also for the focus of where the bequest funds are at the moment. So I think both requests coming before you are worthy of your consideration. And I will just sit here now quietly, believe it or not, and support, provide any additional information you might need through this.
Carol, what do we, give or take, what are we currently earning? So we've got roughly $1 million from the Semperbond funds available as of 5/29/26. What are we earning on average?
Not much, because of the way that we have it invested. We haven't taken a long term, even though it's turned into a long term time to hold them. We tried to keep them fairly liquid through most of their time. And of course, when we first got it, interest rates were and earnings were really low. I would say that we're probably in the 2.5. Yeah, no, it's yeah. So.
Holy cow. So do you think we should be looking at that?
I can look at,
you know, a simple money market is
some more,
3.75.
It's been a challenge because of how liquid we needed to keep it, because for a while we were tapping into it a lot.
Right.
And then it stopped, but I wasn't sure what our needs were going to be. I mean, the council could have at any given time said, send us a check for the rest of it, or spend the rest of it. And so there was a little bit of that, and it kind of, to be perfectly frank, it sort of got lost in the shuffle because it wasn't, all of a sudden, it wasn't being used. And so
23 and 24, we flooded, okay? We had our focus on other things.
Exactly.
No, I understand. I'm certainly not finding fault. I'm just noting that when you told me it was in the 2s, it's like, you know, money market should be, just a simple money market should be closer to 4. And our finances have changed now that the legislature has approved a 10% fund balance. There's always, even if it's not as liquid as we would like to see, we could always do some interfund borrowing if we want to spend some of the money.
And we have done that with other stuff. We've got $500,000 in a CD at Union Bank because we know we don't need it right away for, and the interest that we're earning on it is pretty healthy. So, you know, we do know from a cash flow standpoint that we're in a better position now than we were 5 years ago. So we'll see where things sugar out tonight, and then I will take another look at
so we could
what
possibly
opportunities
earn, give or take, $40,000 a year. We could really double our earnings just with some adjustments, you think?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Unless we give it all away tonight. So.
Well, that ain't happening. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you giving us the background on the Semperbond Fund. What's the balance in the COSI fund, give or take?
A little over 5 between the two.
Yeah.
It's a little over 3 in the Hope Cemetery Fund and a little over 2 in the capital fund.
And we're doing much better in terms of
Yes.
earnings on that one, so that's generating some significant income on an annual basis. Thank you. Gene would be happy, and I
Very
hope
much so.
Charlie would too.
And I think that the projects that have been, we haven't identified any projects yet for the capital fund, but the work that's being done with just even the earnings from the Hope Cemetery Fund have digitized all our cemetery records, have installed a new cemetery software system, are helping support the general operations of the cemetery. I mean, we're making good progress, so very exciting.
Fantastic.
All right,
Okay.
I'll just go sit there.
Okay. I'll let you know if I need you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, who is up to speak to the Jockey Hollow Falls Trail?
Hi, folks. My name's Danielle Ozarski, and I'm the chair of the Barre Rivers Collective. I'm also a resident of Barre City, live on Courier Street.
And I'm Michelle Braun, the executive director of Friends of the Winooski River, and I live in Montpelier.
So I'm going to start just by giving you a background of the Barre Rivers Collective and how the sort of river access piece came to be, and then give you a little bit more information about the Jockey Hollows Fall Trail up to this point, and then Michelle's going to provide some information on the site plan, the engineering, and the work to be done, and then I'll follow it up just to talk to you about the budget and the requests that we're asking for. All right, so thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight about the Jockey Hollow Falls Trail and our request for the Semper Bond funds. So the Barre Rivers Collective began as the Barre River Access Task Force, which was created after the All In for Barre process in 2021. When Barre residents identified river access as one of the community's top priorities, from the beginning, our goal has been straightforward: help Barre residents reconnect with rivers that run through the city by creating safe, welcoming, and accessible places to walk, gather, learn, fish, swim, and experience the water. Rotary Park and the Jockey Hollow Falls area and the Stevens Branch, quickly became one of the clearest examples of both opportunity and need for our group. In 2021, the city sponsored early trail improvement from Rotary Park to the falls, where the VYCC worked with students from the Spalding Educational Alternative School to improve the access to the Stevens Branch. And that work helped show that what was possible at the site. And we know that this site has been used for many years by folks who've lived in the city. So in
It's very pretty.
and it's beautiful, as you can tell. And we have actually very many beautiful falls in the city. In 2022, the newly formed task force began building broader public awareness. We held outreach events at the Barre Heritage Festival. We worked with volunteers in the front of the Winooski River on water quality monitoring. We helped organize public events to answer basic community questions. Where is the river? A lot of folks don't necessarily know where the rivers are in the city. I think obviously the flooding helped us to become more aware of them. Is it safe? Can people fish, swim, or paddle? Where can they do this? And that year also included our first river walk at Rotary Park called Furs, Flowers, and Fish. And that happened in August 2022. And then we also did a cleanup there that helped introduce more residents to the Waterfall Trail and Stevens Branch. And I think at the time there was a counselor who lived in the city his whole life, and we brought him to the falls, and it was the first time he had seen it. So I think that there's that opportunity as well, folks who have never seen it, but have lived there their whole lives. So in 2023, our work became more focused. We hosted another event in June 12th, Take Me to the River. So this was before the flooding. And then after the July flood damaged the informal trail to the falls, the task force partnered with the Vermont River Conservancy and volunteers to reopen and repair the trail with the understanding that it was in a floodplain, and we weren't going to be doing like big fixes to this. So we removed debris, we rebuilt sections of tread, placed stepping stones, and helped make the route usable again. We also participated in post-flood green up work at Rotary Park along the waterfall trail and near the ball field. I think we picked up all those chunks of fence. I think it's like this orange kind of plastic fencing around the fence that we pulled out as well. So one of the things that became really important to us is that we really wanted to get that trail out of the floodplain because it wasn't a safe place for folks to go, especially during flooding events. And we also, one of the things we recognized is when we'd have these events, only certain people could attend because it was hard to get down the steep slope. It's slippery, it's narrow. And so we wanted to make a trail that would be more accessible, pull it out of the floodplain, and actually be easier to maintain because currently there's just a lot of work to do to take care of it. So I think you can go right into the slideshow now. We can get more specific. So there's been a dam removal, the Jockey Hollow Falls Dam, just almost immediately downstream from the waterfall. We developed the river access master plan and did site prioritization. So this is one of the ways we came up with the focus on this. And so the other things we're going to talk about, Jockey Hollow Falls Trail, the cost, rendering, and features, that's what Michelle's going to talk about, the Jockey Hollow Dam removal, and then the Snow Lot Trail, which is being built, is it starting or will start next week? Okay, awesome. So you can go to the next slide.
That's just Friends of the Winooski, and I guess I should explain our role in this. So we started working with the Barre River Access Task Force in 2020 when they were well underway, and they brought us in because they're volunteers and they're not chartered, they don't have an entity, they can't accept grants. They can do a tremendous amount of work, as everyone in Barre has seen them do. But we can add to that the ability to manage grants, the staff time and expertise to manage projects, and just general capacity.
Yeah.
So that is the projects that are happening in Barre since All In for Barre are all led by what is now called the Barre Rivers Collective, and Friends of the Winooski's role is to provide support to achieve their goals.
Our goals, right? So we have a general timeline in 2024. I don't know if folks remember, we did the Art for Rivers event with the Vermont River Conservancy, and folks brought together bottle caps. People collected bottle caps, and then we made this like really cool, I can't remember, what do you call it? But when
Arch.
Yeah, it was an arch. But we used
mosaic.
Mosaic, yeah. So hopefully that will be put at the beginning of the trail, so we still have that. And in June 2024, that's when we worked with the Friends of Winooski River to get a VOREC grant to develop the master plan. And I think most of you are familiar with the master plan. I think we've come and presented on that, where we prioritized about 10 sites. And so now we're kind of like really moving forward. And Rotary Park, in that grant, there was a design to be developed for that. So we knew that would be like one of the first projects we'd work on. So Jockey Hollow Dam, and a series of 3 dam removals, as you are aware of too, was removed in 2025, and then we did a tree planting there last October as well. 2025 in December, our master plan was complete, and so we came and presented that to you. In 2026, we started working or completed the Jockey Hollow Overlook, and then closed out the VOREC grant, which is a big thing. And then in 2026, we have the rendering, the cost estimate by timber and stone, and then biweekly meetings. So we've been working with the city. So Tess and Nicholas have been part of that. And then also working with the Vermont Community Foundation and the National Parks RATC program, right?
RTCA, Rivers, Trails, and Conservation Assistance. Yeah, and Pat.
Oh, and Pat Moulton from state, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, and then the Snow Lot, which we talked about, is a new trail on the other side of the river to bring you to the site. So you can go to the next slide. So the river access plan, we developed that. Our goal is really to remove barriers to river access. We want to improve existing sites and create other potential access areas. And I would say one of the things that was also really important for us in this was to consider the hazard mitigation projects and flood mitigation in general in any of our project design. So that was kind of built into this. So that's our goal, is to also help to achieve some of those as well and be able to kind of pool funding in that way. So you can go to the next slide. There's just pictures of us and some of the work that we've done with our outreach. We did a bunch of walks in the North End last summer, was it last summer? To look at those hazard mitigation designs and discuss those with people in the community, and then to talk about river access at those sites as well. So you can go to the next slide. So this is just a graph showing the voting that took place. So we did a survey. We got over actually 100 responses from a really wide demographic of the city, telling us the sites that they thought were a priority. And so as you can see, Hollow Falls Trail includes Rotary Park and South Falls. So that was a one that was really important to folks. And the Vermont Granite Museum sites are being developed by the Vermont Granite Museum. And I'll tell you a little bit about Spalding. So you can go to the next slide. So yes, the dam was removed.
Dam was removed.
We planted a whole bunch of trees.
You can see the before picture and the after picture.
Yep.
So.
And then the waterfalls that you were looking at originally are just upstream from that area. And the fishing, I think, there has gotten even better there. That's what people have told me anyway.
One thing to note too is we did a bunch of E. coli testing and found that E. coli levels in the river through Barre are very high. There's nowhere in Barre that it's safe to swim according to the standards for E. coli, except up here. And this is already a popular swimming place, and it tested below the standard for E.
coli. So you want to talk about this?
Yes. So in developing the dam removal project, we discovered on the lower photo, you can kind of see a really cool old mill building ruin. There's a beautiful old stone foundation. It's super old. It predates significantly the dam that was removed. And the Vermont Department of Historic Preservation is really excited about this site, said that it's eligible for National Register listing. There's an existing utility path there because of the Barre Town sewer line that connects to the Barre City system. And so we have a VYCC crew coming in next week to improve the parking and improve the trail to bring folks down to this historic site.
Great. Next slide.
And this is the engineered design by Dubois and King for the accessible trail. It goes from left to right, Rotary Park on the left. You can see the little pavilion buildings, little squares there. And it stays well above the floodplain. So there won't be any issues with the trail being flooded in the future. And it ends at sort of a clearing in the woods that you can see those beautiful falls from. And here's a piece of the rendering by the National Park Service. You can see the Rotary Park parking area, the pavilions, the big pavilion, and then the little shelters. And then the trail goes into the woods, and right there, there's a wet area, so there's a section of boardwalk, but otherwise the trail is like stay mat, like packed, crushed.
And then you can see a little bit to the north is the bike path. So this would connect the bike path. And one of the things that we did with the group that we've been working with is we did a walk audit from the city to the site. And so we were able to sort of get some ideas about what that walk might look like. I think it's about a mile.
It's a mile from City Hall to that waterfall.
Yep.
So it's about a half-hour walk.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat that you can connect it right from City Hall up Prospect Street. I think it's Fairview to the bike path and get to it that way. You can go to the next slide. So the forest that it moves through is quite a lovely forest. It's probably one of the more lovely ones, I think, that we have in the city. And I'm so grateful that the city owns that property. The goal is really to be able to have interpretive signage, to have the boardwalk, to have the path, to build something that the maintenance is much easier on than the existing trail, is safer for people. There will be benches where people can sit and just enjoy the quietness of the forest. And then there's other accessibility features, so like guide ropes, railings, again, bench seating. And then our sort of phase 2 of this is right now when you get to the viewpoint, you can just walk down to the waterfall. It's like a quick kind of downhill walk. But our goal would be eventually to be able to connect that with a staircase down so it would cause less erosion on the hillside. And then get folks out there to swim and wade. So this is generally what the entire trail looks like. So again, if you look to the right of the screen, you can see the parking lot and the pavilion. And you can take that trail out, and there's sort of like little circles. So those are those places where you'd have the benches, and that's an accessibility need as well. So people can take a rest on their way out. And then you can see where the overlook is. There's a perfectly nice flat area that can be used for that site. And yeah, so that's what the trail looks like. And you can see pictures of the forest and what the forest looks like through there.
And we have a cost estimate from Timber and Stone. They're a Vermont company that specializes in this type of trail. And they gave us an estimate for $116,000. And that includes the whole trail. It doesn't include the staircase down to the water, and it doesn't include the improvements that we are talking about between downtown and the bike path, which are a phase 2, let's say. But that is our project cost total. Next slide.
Next slide.
So as Michelle had said, Barre Rivers Collective is an all-volunteer group, and the Friends of Winooski they provide the nonprofit structure and professional capacity needed to move projects like this forward, as you can imagine. They serve as our fiscal agent, they apply for and manage grants, they handle contracting and reporting, and help coordinate project management. And that partnership allows community-driven river access work to move forward without placing full administrative burden on the city as well. So it's been really great to have this partnership to move things forward and be able to work with the city in the capacity where they're giving us feedback and helping us to plan in ways that make sense. So we've brought in outside funding and technical support to advance this project. So the total remaining need for Rotary Park or the Jockey Hollow Falls Trail access work is approximately around $133,000.
What we've raised.
That's what we've raised. So that's why we're requesting the $70,000. So the total project cost to the Friends of the Winooski is $203,157, including, and this includes project management, design, and implementation, so all the steps that took us to get here. So to date, $133,156 has been secured or donated. And so really, we're looking to be able to match with $70,000 to complete construction of the trail this year. So that's our hope, and that's why we're asking. So this would really allow us to leverage that outside funding to reduce the burden on the city to complete a project that directly advances the intent of the Semper Bond funds, which is better walking and biking connections, stronger public access, and a more connected Barre.
Questions? Maintenance. Going forward, obviously, you heard the manager speak to our construction season, the things we have going on, the stresses on our public works and recreation crews to start with. So who would commit to maintain the trail and the bridges and?
Well, I think the hope is that this would be part of sort of recreation piece of the city.
Mhm.
So it would be considered part of our recreation infrastructure. And so to look at it from that perspective, we obviously have volunteers from our organization and people of the city to set up work days, to do maintenance. Those things are relatively easy. But if you're talking like long-term, 20 years into the future, I can't tell you if like we're gonna still be around to be able to do that.
I won't be.
And one of the things that I think Michelle went and talked to the Rotary Club as well. And I don't know if you want to share any of.
Well, they are excited about it because of their historic allegiance to Rotary Park. So they were pretty interested in it. And they were, one thing that they suggested was that Rotary Club maintains a club at Spalding High School called Club Interact that, and now Spalding High School has a community service requirement, and they thought it would be a perfect fit for them to work with Club Interact to have, an annual work day on the trail. It's all pretty low maintenance. There's a 70-foot section of bridge and a 70-foot section of boardwalk and a 12-foot bridge are the longer-term maintenance needs, probably.
Mhm. And I know they're using black locust decking as opposed to pressure treated. Do you know have they given you an estimate on the life expectancy of the decking?
No, and I'll ask them about that. Black locust is super durable. It's very rot resistant. But the folks at Rotary Club did recommend looking into wood alternatives like a timber tech or something along those lines. And we could ask whether there's a cost difference or whether there's a durability difference, because timber and stone has a lot of experience with these kind of outdoor trail situations.
Any concerns, Nicholas, when you think
I have a
about
question.
maintenance or even monitoring?
Yeah, I think that, I feel comfortable with it. I think the trail itself is, I don't know if you have the distance on the trail itself, it's not a huge trail. If it's a mile from here to the end, it's really a short segment that we'd be looking at maintaining anyway. I know I talked to Michelle about the materials on the trail are going to be relatively low maintenance. We are actually, one of the folks who had been volunteering to do some of the cow pasture mowing is unable to do that. So I know we've taken on a little bit of that up at the cow pasture also, and that has been okay. So I feel comfortable that given the relatively short stretch of it, that whatever maintenance gaps we might need to fill in through the facilities department could be addressed. Their crews are there anyway to do mowing of the areas around the pool. There's somebody working on the pool anyway every day, and they're doing chips and the wood chips in the playground. So there's people in that area anyway that if we ask them to do some sporadic monitoring up and down the trail, that I think they can work that in.
Yes.
Does that trail lead to Bridge Street?
No, it doesn't go, Bridge Street is beyond the
But the
falls.
bike path goes to Bridge Street, right?
Because from what I understand, and I hear that if you go down Bridge Street, it turns into a homeless encampment. Is there any of that on this trail? Do you know of?
They're on the trail, no. In the past, I guess I would
I mean,
say
because
like.
the family's not gonna walk down there, there's gonna be
So,
people living there.
Yeah, so like sporadically that has happened. But also what I've also seen down there is I've seen families swimming and people using it. Because we're there doing a lot of maintenance there and cleanup, it seems like at least in the past 5 years since we've been there, we haven't seen any long-term camps there.
I mean, I think the idea is awesome, to be able to have families access our rivers. And I don't want to be negative or pessimistic about it, but it seems like whenever we do something like that, it gets overran by the homeless and there's needles, that's been proven, and I'm just worried about that. I mean, maintenance, I'm about policing. That's my only apprehension. I think as far as everything, I think it's gorgeous. I'd be more worried about maintenance with having a security or keep it from becoming that, because it will.
Yeah, and I think the way that I've looked at this particular trail is I see it as an improvement from what's currently there. Currently, it's, it's a semi-maintained trail by volunteers. It's in the floodplains. There's not a lot you can do with it. And so it's harder to get to. It takes more effort. It's more hidden, which I think leads to some of those activities. But again, like I said, for the 5 years that I've been going there, it's been really sporadic. And most of the time, I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing people down there. But I'm thinking by taking it out of the floodplain, making it more visible, by creating a really nice path that people feel comfortable with, that I think we're going to see more use and people who are going to want to steward it beyond just our group.
when was the E. coli test on the river?
That's a really good question. 2024, we tested in July, August, October, and then we retested again in 25.
So to bring up our last time we spoke, is that the same type of project that's going to be across from Granite City Real Estate Holdings property that we talked about at the last meeting? Is it the same? I mean, is it work? Are we trying to prevent a flood or just have more access to the water, or both?
So the dam removal that hasn't been done yet, the third dam, Habep, that one doesn't provide an opportunity for public access because it is, privately owned residential property on the other side, and privately owned. It's privately owned on both sides of the river, essentially. So there is a city right-of-way to get down there, and there's a piece of land that's city-owned.
Super steep. It's right off of the
Adjacent
pool.
to the dam, yeah. But it's not a good opportunity for public access there.
I bring that up because I'm going to be blunt. I was going to talk to you about that, but the day later, someone who's in this room slandered me on social media, saying that I dealt with two women, being I say more, basically saying that I'm prejudiced against women. One thing that she doesn't seem to know, Bern, is that my wife, who's a woman, is half owner of Granite City Real Estate. So I just want that public record. That's one big reason why I didn't see you that week. Because a day later, I get slandered in social media by Bern Rose. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, any other I'm sorry?
This was nodding to me, and so I thanked him.
Thank you very much, Bern. That'll be enough.
I have a question.
Yes, I'm sorry, Sonia, I didn't see you.
First.
I recall when the Barre, actually, I don't know if the Barre River Collective came in and we talked about the plan and all of the different sites. And I remember Councilor Bergeron mentioned that because there was some concern about the Jockey Hollow Trail being developed. And I remember Councilor Bergeron saying that maybe if it was the cow pasture, we had similar issues. And then when we cleaned it up, there were actually more people using it. And actually the amount of people who were hanging out or living there actually decreased because there were more people using it. And so I think that just like we have instituted things for to make sure that people can use our city parks, we also have to make sure that we're continuing to provide opportunities for people to access the river. And so I really think this is a fantastic project. I appreciate all of the work that the Friends of the Winooski has done to secure all the funding, because for a project like this, we would never be able to afford it. And we're going to get out of it for $70,000. It's amazing.
Councilor Deering.
Something that was really impactful to me, being from Winooski, actually, seeing the transformation and the river walk that they have down there, growing up and spending time along the river where it wasn't always so safe, but then going back to CCV, where they have CCV in Winooski, I got to experience some of those trails. And I really feel like if we can do this right, it can be amazing and breathtaking and something that our city really needs, but it has to be done right. I also believe in the same mindset that if we clean this up, if we open it up and make it a more welcoming, inclusive place, we aren't going to have a lot of the behaviors that we don't want to see. Because most of those behaviors are done in the darkness, in places that aren't out in the open, typically. So I believe that if we can do this right, and it has to be done right, this can be an amazing opportunity for the city of Barre to move forward for its residents.
Yes.
Just in the line, there was a very brief mention early on of biweekly project meetings, and I have been let's just say, extraordinarily inconsistent attendee at those meetings. I've been on the email chains, and I've been able to attend once or twice. And what I want to say is this is a wonderful presentation, and you are seeing the tip of the iceberg of a tremendous amount of, I cannot overstate how much thought and care and hard work has been put into this by every single partner, from the National Park Service to the state of Vermont to our more local groups like Friends of the Winooski and the Rivers Collective. It is really difficult to overstate how much time a lot of people have spent on making this really wonderful project come together. So I just wanted to thank you all for that.
So you've raised, so total project budget, you've raised roughly 133, total project costs 203. So you're looking for 70. And if I support this, will you do the next one on the north end?
Well, it depends on what happens with Spalding and like their field upgrades, because I met with them last night.
North end's got a field of love.
So you gotta wait. So I went to the facilities committee meeting yesterday to talk to them about the Spalding site, because I think we looked at like, oh, it would be great to have a site in each ward. Like, that's how we want to start it off. And so we did talk to them, and they're kind of excited about including it in their master planning effort. So we just had beginning conversations about that. Sorry, Nicholas.
Oh, no, I was just going to add that we've actually talked in one of the recent meetings that this is a really good model for, we're going to have some really good opportunities to do this on the north end. You know, we're all the buyouts on Vine Street, Scampini Square, that connect to the river and could be a really good access to the river. It may not be as extensive as this trail because we don't have the real estate, but just a nice sitting area, a nice place for people to connect with the river in a way that's not during a flood. But we were talking about recently, as we were getting to the end of this project, that this is like a really good model to see if it works for when the time is right, doing it in a place like the north end where most of our buyouts are, and they happen to be right clustered along the river.
Nicholas, if you want to bring up the presentation real quick, and go to the slide that shows the river access master plan map.
Let me see if I can get there. I may have broken it by clicking too far down. I'll try to get there.
Okay, well, at any rate, so the 10 sites that we identified that are good opportunities for public access are pretty evenly distributed the length of the city. And so it's all about the timing and, you know, what's ready and what we have access to funding that matches with a site that's ready that can move forward. So
I would say Brook Street is one that we really want to work on the city with when that can happen, when the planning for that happens. Ayers Auto is another site too that we would like to work on. And then Desero is the other site. So those are three
which
sites,
way?
I think.
Three
two
wards
in the
too.
north end.
Those are all different wards.
This one? There. Yeah.
no, back.
Oh.
Oh, well, that's one, yeah, that lists the sites.
I don't think we had a map of them all.
There is a
We
map.
did. Yeah, we did.
Oh, there is that.
There it
That's
is.
the one. Yeah.
So you can see the red pins there are just.
Yeah, you can go ahead and point at it. Go ahead and point if it's easier, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so Rotary Park is the farthest down one, Spalding is up here, the Brook Street project is up here, this is probably Scampini.
Desero.
Oh, Desero, yeah.
Oh, that one's Desero. Okay. So
That's Scampini and Vine.
here, and the Granite Museum and this must be Ayers.
Yes.
Yeah, so there'd be 2 in Ward 3.
So.
3.
Oh, yeah, actually.
Yeah, so we have, you know, a pretty good distribution throughout the length of the city. And it just is a matter of timing and matching the funding, when the sites are ready, because several of them depend on buyouts, several of them depend on hazard mitigation projects that happen after the buyouts, so.
Yeah.
I know we're in a moment in the flood recovery process, and I went through the flood recovery after Tropical Storm Irene, working for the town of Northfield, and did a big project there that took, from the time of the flood, 7 years. And I know there's a period in the middle there where it gets really hard to maintain patience, because a lot of the stuff that's happening is gears turning behind the scenes, and it's not visible, and people start getting really frustrated, and we're like definitely in that zone now. But as opportunities present themselves in the next few years, as things actually start moving, we'll be on it.
Thank you. So the next one will be in the north end. Okay, well, I just hear what I want to hear.
Stampede-
Sorry.
I have a yes vote.
That's how I roll.
I think that Stampede is probably the next
make it
easiest
happen.
one.
There you go.
We'll do it.
Council, motion to
So
approve would
moved.
be, thank you.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion or questions?
I have one.
Yes, of course.
So what about potential EMS responses, or kind of any emergency responses that might need to happen for, say somebody gets hurt down at the end of the trail? How would we get someone back from the trail?
More easily than you can now.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, I travel those trails a lot. I go down there also with school kids. And so I just wonder, how would we be able, if somebody calls 911 from one of those sites, how would they get back,
So maybe
It's the
we
same
should,
way they would get someone on the cow pasture, which is a longer route, and they have an access road that gets them to the trail, but then they still have to, if someone were having a medical emergency at the furthest point of the cow pasture, they'd still have to walk those trails.
Okay.
And this would be much shorter than that,
And flatter.
and flatter and better prepared.
Fair enough.
Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed? Thank you, motion carries. Thank you very much.
awesome. That's so exciting.
Okay, council, Cow Pasture Committee.
Speaking of cow pasture.
No, she.
How are you?
I'm Chris Russo Frazier. I'm the current chair of the Cow Pasture Stewardship Committee. And
I'm Jeanette Schaefer. I am the co-chair, and I'm a city resident.
so am I. We're coming to request, and you've received a memo in your packet, and I would probably be easier for me to read that for those listening. We're coming to request an additional $25,000 from the Semper Bond Fund. In August of 2011, the Barre City Council approved a $25,000 allocation from the fund to be used for improvements to the cow pasture. In 2013, a consultant was hired with those funds to prepare an inventory and an assessment of the cow pasture property. Creating a cow pasture stewardship committee was among many the many recommendations provided. Since the creation of the committee, many of the recommendations and goals which were included in the management plan for the Barre City cow pasture have been achieved. The management plan identified numerous trails and infrastructure projects, and it identified land conservation and management priorities. All trail projects identified in the plan will be completed as of the fall of 2026. And a few high priority acquisitions securing access to the cow pasture property have been made. Additional projects not identified in the management plan, including installation of pedestrian bridges, and a new trail will be finalized in the summer of 2026, this summer. The committee also leveraged some Semper Bond monies as matching funds for grants totaling $61,000 approximately to complete the projects identified in the management plan. In 2013, we got a Vermont Recreation Trails grant, which restored what was known as Killer Hill because it was so steep, deeply eroded. You couldn't even walk on the trail. It was so wide, it was like a stream bed. So that was a major project. And then a new switchback trail up the side of Killer Hill. It was called Killer Hill just because there was no incident there. It was called Killer Hill because it was so difficult to walk up. It was very steep and eroded, and bikers also struggled getting up the hill. So part of that project included a switchback trail along the side of the hill. So we also, in 2014, got a state Vermont Recreation Facilities grant to install the kiosk at the entrance of the property, which included a nice map of the trails. In 25-26, we received a no-match grant. I think the state saw that the community really embraced this property and provided the city with a $50,600 no-match grant. And with that, a lot of trail work was done, signage was installed, a new trail was installed, and pedestrian bridges, and in a trail assessment of the existing trails. So in addition, the committee has engaged community volunteers. In 2012, Vermont Youth Conservation Corps crew and leaders donated 2 weeks of labor to complete several trails and projects identified in the management plan. The committee members and community volunteers have volunteered hundreds of hours assisting with the kiosk installation, trail maintenance, and invasive plant and down tree removal. The committee recently purchased professional trail maintenance tools with a portion of the URSA grant fund to maintain the trail network. The committee has also secured material donations for a bridge project that will be completed this summer. This area that the bridge is going to be installed in has very steep approaches to it. And as a matter of fact, it was a site of where a pedestrian broke their legs several years ago, and the access to it was along the neighboring property to get to them. So it'll be great to improve that trail and have a pedestrian bridge and stop the erosion that occurs on that steep, not very well planned trail. Most of the trails that are in the cow pasture were really never designed. They were just footpaths going through the property without any design in mind or consideration to the steepness of it. So the $12,225 project will be offset, which is the trail project. There's a pedestrian bridge and the bridge materials. So that's going to be offset by the, I should have mentioned that the current balance of the Cow Pasture Stewardship Committee, the $25,000, allotment that was made many years ago is $11,545. So the committee has really utilized the money caringly and has still quite a balance at this point in time. But in 2026, after the completion of the pedestrian bridge and the realignment work, which there will only be approximately $3,560 remaining of the original $25,000 that was allotted. There was a donation, we're expecting a donation from RK Miles and potentially other donations as well for the upcoming bridge project. So what will the committee do with an additional $25,000? In 2027, a revision of the management plan for the Barre City cow pasture that was completed in 2017 is due. In 2027, it was a 10-year plan. The revised plan will provide the committee with an additional list of priorities and land management goals. The trail assessment, which was done in 2025 as part of the URSA grant, lists numerous trail improvements that have yet to be completed. The committee will continue to seek and leverage grant monies and donations when possible to complete future projects. And it's our belief, or the committee's belief, that this is kind of meets the goals of what Charlie would have wanted done in the city. It's natural areas, people do use it for biking, there's informal biking on the property. So we think that that this is in the spirit of what his original plans were for those funds.
I might just add one data point or two data points that we left out of this letter that might be important just to highlight the work that the committee does, the Cow Pasture Stewardship Committee. So of the $50,600 that we got in URSA funding allowed us to expand with City Council's support. Thank you for that. It allowed us to expand the conserved acreage by approximately 17% in the cow pasture and the trails by 18%. So in just 2 years. Thanks.
Questions, council? The management plan, do you have an estimate? The update that you mentioned?
As to what that would cost now to have a management plan update. I don't know what that would come in at.
What was it last 10 years?
I want to say that I don't want to speak, if Carol, you pull up your spreadsheet. I didn't bring the spreadsheet. Carol has been very patient with us, keeping track of the expenditures. I've been very frugal, I would say, in managing those funds and trying to secure as much as we can. But I'm thinking that these days it would probably be $6,000. And I think that that's pretty equivalent to what it was in.
Okay, so you have one major project scheduled for this year, for 26, and that's the project that's $12,225, and you have the money for that.
Yes, we do. Some of it is trying to utilize, we came under budget with the projects that we listed in the original URSA grant, and we had $3,200 remaining in that, and rather than give it back to the state, we decided to create another project that was in the recommended, and that was creating another pedestrian bridge and realigning the trails to the stream crossing on the upper part of the property where someone broke their leg about 8 years ago, and the trails, it's sheer ice. So once we utilize the remaining URSA grant money, which is $3,200, we'll be down to $3,560 in the remaining.
Gotcha.
December bond money.
So now you're simply looking for the appropriation, knowing that you need to get the plan updated in 27 and not knowing quite what you'll spend the $25,000 on. But you're sure you'll find something.
Well, actually, and as part of the URSA grant, we had a trail assessment done, which we had never had done before. So there's a trail assessment that lists many projects that we should be considering, because like, we had mentioned, a lot of those trails were never professionally designed. So we have already, with the trail assessment that was completed with the URSA grant, a whole list of potential trail improvement projects that we can work on.
Understood.
And will also help us identify new projects that we need to be planning for the next 10 years.
Council, there are no other questions. A motion to approve would be in
So
order.
moved.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I think I carved
Yes.
my initials on a tree when I was in high school partying in Cow Pasture.
We've heard lots of stories.
I'm sorry, Carol.
I'm sorry.
The motion identify the source. Is it going to come again out of the bequest? I just want to make sure that we're paying.
What would your recommendation be?
I think the bequest is fine.
Then I would modify my motion to take it out of the bequest.
And I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Thank you very much. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Great work.
Council, we're at item 8G. We scratched F, as you recall, so we're at item 8G on,
E.
We're at item 8E on the agenda to review the fiscal year 27 capital plan update.
Thanks, Mayor. And Christina wasn't able to join us tonight. She had a family matter to attend to, so I will be flying solo for the presentation, and I'll try to answer detailed questions best I can. If not, we will certainly follow up. This is what the charter says. We're obviously late this year. We're supposed to present you with a capital plan before the annual meeting. With the transition this year in the finance department, our Christina was both transitioning into a new position. We had a transition with the audit as well. This sort of came to the back burner. She was learning the process, and so we wanted to get it right. And so we are late with this year, so just want to acknowledge that up front. But this is the general provisions of the charter which lay out what we are supposed to provide. The big picture, we provided the draft plan in the packet. Just the big takeaways is, it's concerning. This slide hasn't changed too much from when we started talking about capital plans. We have a lot of end of useful life assets, and that's things, roofs, boilers, HVAC. Those, they're all, many of them are way past their end of useful life. They're coming to end of useful life now. And so we are, we're grappling with fixing those. Luckily, we have some, we've been very lucky with some grants recently, for example, at the auditorium to replace those things. But this has been a pretty recurring issue that we're trying to keep up just with those core structures and assets that we need to run our buildings. We also have a lot of end of useful life heavy equipment, a lot of plows and dump trucks for a lot of years when those vehicles weren't being purchased on a regular basis. And so what happens is the ones we have get older, they fail together, and we have to buy them in the same year, which is expensive and difficult. So we've tried to be very, in the last couple of years, of prioritizing making sure that our fleet, which is really a big important part of what we do, is in good shape, because it is not cheap. It's also still on quite a bit of delays in terms of getting equipment in. And if they fail, it really impacts a lot of our direct services to residents and our safety issues. We're talking about dump trucks and plows that clear our roads. We've also had revenue generating assets in need of major upgrades. One coming up is the VOR roof, which is right at that point of needing to be replaced, and we're starting in serious planning stages to try to get that started this year. We've already made significant upgrades to the BOR through the manifold, and so but as we saw last year, even with the upgrades to the manifold, the piping connected underneath the floor failed last year, right? So even though we had a great brand new manifold, we still had issues because the piping itself is a concern and is old. We were able to troubleshoot it. As I mentioned, when this happened at the end of the ice season last year, like if the ice season if this had happened at the beginning of the ice season, we would have been fine. We just needed more of the chemicals delivered. But because it happened right at the end, we lost a couple days of ice. And that's because that infrastructure underneath the ice is getting old. If you've been on the ice, you've probably noticed yellow splotching on the ice. We have very beautiful ice, except in those spots where you see leaks coming through the roof, and that's the cause of that. It's not the Zamboni, it's not the painting, it's not the maintenance. It is water dripping from the roof, the rust, and landing on the ice and staining it. And we have obviously just, we deal with this every year. Our old infrastructure, stormwater, streets, all of that. And I should note that for the purpose of this presentation, we're talking about general fund. So you won't see water, wastewater, water distribution, sewer distribution here. We will certainly talk about those capital issues when the rates are set, but I should have mentioned that up front. We're talking about sort of the general fund components here. So in this case, we're talking stormwater and of course our streets. That said, I mean, we have also a lot to be really proud of. The capital plan since its inception has really allowed us to focus, prioritize, and target the things that we need to do. The key accomplishments for FY26 is a lot of paving, Prospect, Berlin, Allen Street. Last year were huge needs, and they've made a huge difference for residents of that part of the city or people who travel through that part of the city. We also invested in intersection cameras and public safety building cameras, city hall cameras. This was added to the plan. It came as a response to our efforts to address quality of life issues and security in our buildings, but that was also a key accomplishment citywide. Probably maybe the biggest one, the one very happy about, is the purchase of a new DPW building. For those of you who were on the council in the early iterations of the capital plan, you might remember the large $30 million placeholder that we had for the public works garage. Carol remembers it.
Oh, yeah.
And we have been able to, we're at a really good spot with that. We purchased the building for $3 million. We bonded for $3.3 million. We're going to have to make some adjustments to that because, as we talked about with the OT project, everything is more expensive now. But even so, we are in such a better spot today than we were back when we thought this was a $30 million problem. We have $4.2 million in auditorium upgrades. This, of course, all funded by grants, MERP, and of course, and the council, thank you, last week approved the gap financing to get that project fully financed. And then we've made some, life health safety improvements for our fire department. With the self-contained breathing apparatus upgrades, which is a big dollar ticket item, but also has a long life. So we have a lot of things that went really well. On the equipment side, as I mentioned, we've been prioritizing this as well because so much of it is direct services to residents. So when we buy a plow truck, that's a direct service by plowing the streets in the winter and having equipment that's reliable to do that. But we've also purchased excavators, service trucks. 2 new plow trucks are in service since we started the capital plan. We're awaiting delivery of a third. So this has been a big priority for us to make sure that our crews have the equipment they need to provide direct services. Last year we welcomed them this year, a new ambulance and a new fire truck. So those also have, they were replacing old equipment and give us a new, brand new equipment that will have a long life. We've also been transitioning to hybrid cruisers. So we started buying hybrid cruisers, I believe, 3 years ago. They have been very reliable. We've actually took savings in the budget for fuel as a result of having the hybrids now. And the fire department is very happy with them. The officers have not reported any, I know they might handle a little bit different, but the officers have not reported any complaints with the new vehicles, and it's saving us money, and so that's great. And the facilities department has also received some new fleet. They had some aging fleet. Councilor Bergeron probably remembers some of those vehicles. They're
jewels.
Probably the big one, very excited about, is a new ice resurfacer. That's the technical term. The brand is Zamboni. But that is on order, thanks in part to a very generous anonymous donation that allowed us to make that happen.
When does that come, when will that be utilized, you think?
Next ice season, I believe it's.
Next by next season?
Yep. And this is just a visual representation. The blue bar shows the cost of capital projects. The gold bar shows the cost of the equipment. That's the fleet. And then resources is where we're tracking monies available to do these projects. And so you can see those numbers are concerning. Now, we have, we've been very grateful that the voters approved local options taxes. That was in, I think, 22, 21?
22.
First one was 17, 18, and then.
And there was another one right before I started. Thank you. So that fund, that provides over $900,000 a year to us that goes directly into the capital improvement fund. We're very grateful that the city council has increased the voter approved allocation. This past year was $800,000, and we understand it's going to be growing to make sure that we catch up to where it should be. Resources also includes items like grants. So for example, we account for the Sanders CDS grant in here to offset the cost of the auditorium project, but that doesn't, it doesn't change the fact that we still have some significant needs in out years that we do have to figure out. Otherwise, what happens and what we have to do at the staff level is we have to shift those things down, right? So if you don't have the resources to do it, you have to prioritize what you need to do and what you can do, and then everything else ends up shifting down, unfortunately, but that's the reality.
Question real quick?
Yes.
So you had a huge gap. Can you go back to the last slide?
Yeah.
So there's a really big gap in 2029 with the equipment costs. What are those assumed equipment costs?
A new fire truck, a new ladder truck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that like $1 million?
Close
one
to
and a
that.
half?
Well, yeah, about more than $1 million. Yes. So the priorities for this coming fiscal year, again, talking about the fleet. The fleet is important because it's not just for people to drive around, and it's for direct services. We also have the paving and sidewalks to be completed this summer. We're looking to expand that with using the state's contractor to do sections of South Main Street in Washington as well. Facilities and recreation, I mentioned the BOR roof. That's a big dollar item right there, but that is one that is not going to get any cheaper. And the BOR is, I know we've talked about this in other contexts. The ICE is the facility that makes us money. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't mean we shouldn't have other facilities. They're still very important. I strongly believe even though the pool doesn't make money, it's still a really valuable resource to have. But the ICE is super important because it does make money. Yep. And losing that would be, would certainly be an issue. And it wouldn't just impact the city's revenue, would impact our high school kids who play hockey games, or the figure skating club that uses it, and the youth hockey groups that fill it. I mean, it is, if you looked at that schedule this year, it was pretty packed 7 days a week. So we would, certainly, are they all Barre kids who are in there? Barre City kids? No, but certainly there's a lot of them. And
They're all paying for it.
They're all paying for it.
No, we'll never be without ICE in the
Yes.
BOR.
So
To be clear.
Yeah, so this is a big one. This has risen up the priority list, and it's like, if you can see here, this is an estimate, and we're starting to do some more rigorous planning around this because it's a really important facility for the city.
Roof replacements you got for 150, is that the two annexes, the front and the back?
Yes. This may also include the cemeteries may be lumped in here as well, because I know we're looking at the vaults and the building. Yeah, so that lump sum could include those as well. But there's a series. The annex is also needed at the BOR. We did some troubleshooting there this year. Some patching, yeah. Fire and EMS, they're working on multi-gas meters, and Chief Cushman is working on estimates on that. We have another cruiser in line. The police department is also looking to optimize the space in that building to better suit their needs. As you might recall, 4 years ago, we got rid of the jails. We used to have a jail in the public safety building. We no longer, we don't use it anymore. The jail cells are still there. But there's important optimizations of space that the chief is looking to make that we'll try to prioritize as well. And then in City Hall, we're the big ticket item here, which was actually booked to the previous year, is the MERP work that's happening, which is energy efficiency. But we've also tried to make some interior fixtures and finishes changes in here. If you've been to the clerk's office recently, you might see the new flooring. I know the clerk's office is very happy with it. Something that's a little bit nicer, easier to maintain. And so that was one of the finishes, for example, that we did in this building. So those are just some of the priorities. In terms of the work for the staff, we work through every year around the time that we work on the budget. This year it happened a little bit later because of the transition. But we look at the list for the coming year. We identify if anything has emerged that needs to be bumped into the list or something that can be delayed. But essentially, we feel pretty comfortable with the FY27 list of to-dos. Right now, the team is working on seeking finance quotes, finalizing bids to the extent we need those, and then trying to find funding resources to fill those gaps. And then we'll start to move, very exciting fashion to some of the construction phase on a lot of these. The Public Works Garage is a big one, obviously. The auditorium project is right on the cusp of getting going. And then everyone is very, very excited about the annual paving plan and the expansion that we're hoping to do it this year of covering South Main and Washington. So overall, what I would say is, the capital plan project started right as I was arriving. I think the city had contracted with the consultant who helped formulate it. And it's been a terrific tool for the city. I think it really gives us a lot of direction at the staff level and has allowed us to really check off a lot of things. It keeps us accountable in a way that was hard to do before these things were written down and tracked. So I think it's been a great tool. I always like to emphasize it's a capital improvement plan, and plans can change, and we've done that. I think we showed it with the cameras. We had to do it with the manifold at the BOR when that was starting to fail. And so I think something for the council to keep in mind that it's a really good document, but it's still a plan document, and I think there has to be flexibility to account for things like that. One thing we didn't account for in the resources is the COSI fund. As we talked about, there's two COSI funds: the cemetery side and the capital fund, and the capital improvement side. It's sort of it's an option about whether the city chooses to count that within the capital funds or not. I think that'll certainly be a decision to be made as the next plan is formulated. But I did want to mention that those funds were not included in those resources that we talked about. I happen to be in the opinion those would be good resources on very impactful projects. I'd hate to recommend using COSI funds to fix an air conditioner. Right. I think that those funds, because of the spirit they were donated, maybe deserve to be used on more lasting projects, more community-based projects. An air conditioner doesn't seem to me anyway. I would struggle to bring that recommendation to you. But that those are resources for when projects emerge that are worthy of those funds to use. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Request under the City Hall interior fixtures and finishes, the women's bathroom.
That is, yes. So that is the last, I feel terrible about that. It's the last bathroom we have to do. We did, the downstairs bathroom was flooded, so that one had to be done. We have our first ever ADA bathroom in the old PD. We now have a new bathroom. I encourage people, Carol's personal bathroom across from where Chris sits. If you haven't been in that bathroom in a long time, I encourage you to stop by. It was inaugurated. It was, I don't know what the right term is. It was inaugurated this week. I don't know who did it, but it was inaugurated this week. And then this is the last one, but they just finished this one over here, and then the women's bathroom on this first floor will be next, and then we will have all new bathrooms here for people who come to this building.
It's great news. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions? BOR roof, what's the completion date for that, 27?
Our goal is to get that contracted in FY '27, so hopefully get quotes this year, get a project plan together. The work may need to lag depending on when they're able to do it. The trouble now is that this is a good problem to have, but the BOR is now a year-round facility, really.
Right.
And so my recommendation would be that something like that possibly over the summer, because that's when the building tends to be less occupied, even with the turf.
Yep.
The turf has been really kicking up in the last couple of years, really early in that spring season when it's still too ugly to be outside, too ugly, too wet, too rainy, whatever it is.
Right.
It's been really busy from late February when it goes in to mid-April, early May, depending on the weather. So, and then the ice has to start coming in October. So the best bet may be to lose a summer to do that work. So it may.
Would it affect the interior?
Depends on how it goes.
Yeah.
Depends on what kind of invasive.
I mean,
work they have to do.
it might if they're, I mean, I wouldn't think they'll encounter a ton of rot. They're going to encounter some.
Yeah.
But Jeff, what did it cost to paint the ceiling? Do you remember?
125.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so, that's the other point.
But that included mold cleaning.
You can't run from a leaky roof.
Right.
Okay? You just can't. So it costs us $125,000 to paint the ceiling.
Yeah.
Well, if it starts leaking and staining,
Yeah.
then you're going to spend another 125 on top of the 6. It makes no sense. So, Councilor Spalding, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. The first thing I want to say is, as much as I love the ice at the BOR, we are celebrating the World Cup right now, and year-round soccer, just think about it. It's turf, a lot easier to maintain, and Vermont is a soccer state now. So with that being said, my question is about the BOR roof and the, on your spreadsheet, there's, for 2028, there's a $150,000 project for implementing upgrades to the existing ventilation and dehumidification in the rink. Moisture damage has affected the roof and is being tested in 2022. Mitigation efforts may be required in the roof. It seems to me that it might make sense to have that come before the roof project.
It could be, yeah. I think when we're going to undertake something of that magnitude, we're gonna try to get a full envelope of what needs to be sequenced and what makes the best investment. So this, and I think that's a great point, because that goes to the flexibility, right? So if we find that in talking to contractors and bidding this work, that piece needs to come first, that's a great reason to move off of the plan, right? Even if it says 28 and move it to 27. So yeah, I absolutely agree, Councilor Spalding. I think that when I've talked to Tom Baker about this, that it's basically a full envelope of, everything covering that building, and what do we need to do to give it a good 20, 30-year useful life.
Okay.
Nicholas?
Thank you.
There was a repair done, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. It was about a 20 by 60 foot section of the roof.
Yeah.
And we did testing then. I don't know, DeWolf did it, they may still have the results, but there's a good chance you're going to find areas that have started to soften up a little.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, any other questions? Okay, council, we'll move on to
Mr.
item
Mayor, you've got
8.
one.
I'm sorry?
Amy Gelfer had her hand up online.
Changed her mind.
She did.
I'm sorry?
Amy had her hand up briefly, but
Oh,
seems to
I'm
have changed
sorry.
her mind.
Amy, did you have a question?
I
Did I miss you?
I did raise my hand at the end. I was just working. On the slide with the resources, can you guys just remind me, is some of that coming from like the base city budget, and then some of it comes from like the additional voter options
Yeah.
like for the extra paving, so it's a combination of the two.
It's a combination of, yeah, those are certainly included in that, and it's also includes things like grants that go specifically to some of these capital projects. So it's a mix. So for example, it also now includes the fund balance that was allocated by the city council for the gap financing of the auditorium. So yeah, it's a mix.
Okay, so the longer term, like the 28 and on is just the base budget, and then grants would be on top of that.
Yep.
And if I'm doing some quick math right, there's like a $16 million gap. Like if you add it up.
I think that's about ballpark, yeah. And what that ends up doing is you end up just shifting projects down. Obviously, if you don't have the money to do it, sometimes we have, sometimes we end the year with some balance in that fund, and we can, go into, quote unquote deficit spending the following year because we have, unexpended funds. But that's rare for that to be the case.
Okay. So like hoping for either grants or else it would have to be either delays or tax increases.
Yes.
Is 16 million.
Or bonding's another one that's another one that does it. I mean, there's another, I know this year the legislature, there was consideration, was not ultimately approved, but allowing cities to keep more of the local options tax, which for us, I think we did estimates in the $60,000-$70,000 more per year.
As it is, we're getting some more because
Yeah.
they shifted from 30/70 to 25/75.
Yeah. So it's still, and so any shift they make in that direction, to us, I think what it was when we did the calculations was $50,000 to $60,000 more for the city, which that's a pretty meaningful project for us. That could do some of the renovation work at the PSB, for example. It could take one of those rooms. That could pay for that. So, yep.
Any other questions, council? If not, then we'll move on to item 8G on the agenda. This is the update for the city manager search. Councilor Guston?
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to come to council this evening with the results of the first meetings of the city manager search committee, in particular because we are entering a public input. And I want to emphasize two things as I begin this presentation. This is phase one. There will be more public input. And also that this is a quick public input window in order to specifically, I think, Nicholas, we just lost something weird.
I think that's this one.
Oh, sorry about that.
Sorry.
This is a fairly quick window to get phase one input, and I will talk more about that momentarily. So next slide, please. Thank you. We've now met twice. Our VLCT consultant, Dominic Cloud, who you all met when he came to council previously, has begun formulating necessary job posting materials. Council had previously approved the job description. That is part of it. And what he's working on right now is the city and candidate profile. He's gotten some feedback from that. Certainly, he is a very smart person who's doing research as well. But what we want to do is give him input from the residents of Barre City in order to help write those. And so that is what we're describing as our phase one public input period. And that is going to be gathering input for the city and candidate profile. And this is just sort of the material we put out there for anyone who wants to apply for this job to get them thinking, putting our best foot forward, what we want to brag about and share with folks about for Barre City. Phase two, which will come in July, later into July, while we're waiting for applications from candidates, we will come back to the public and ask for what their dream candidate would look like, what experience and skills a dream candidate might have. We have not yet begun to formulate what that looks like, and that's what we will begin talking about as a committee, I would expect, in the first week or so of July. Thank you. So these are this has been posted on Front Porch Forum. It's going everywhere that we can manage it as quickly as we can manage it. But here are the opportunities for phase one public input. This Wednesday, tomorrow, and next Wednesday, two members of our committee at least will be tabling at Courier Park events. They're going to do some good old-fashioned stickering on posters about some specific skills and things that you'd like to see or priorities that you consider to be important. This Thursday, June 18th, Treasurer Dawes will be leading a Zoom forum, a public Zoom forum, over lunchtime to give a slightly different timing and opportunity for folks to share their perspectives. And then Thursday, this coming Thursday, June 18th, at Alumni Hall, we will host the opportunity for in-person feedback from 6 to 8 p.m. And that will be that. Next, continuing on in the public input. Sorry, guys, I got a tooth working on this afternoon, so my mouth is still a little numb. Public input next, continuing on the phase 1 public input, there is a citywide survey, the link to which has been shared, and we got our first response within probably an hour of Front Porch Forum going out on Monday, so that is out and going strong. That is available and open Monday the 15th, will be closed midnight next Wednesday, June 24th. Paper copies are available at City Hall if you would like to fill that out in person. To answer the question, and I will make this more explicit this evening, that has already been asked, it risks you to rate a couple of things from 1 to 5. 1 is low, 5 is high. Okay? I will fix the survey tonight to make that more clear. I thought I was being clever with using a certain function that it turns out is not as obvious as I thought it was.
Can I give you one positive?
Please, always.
I appreciate the 5-point scale because it doesn't give them, it's
We spent a lot of time debating that.
We did. There was
Big
robust
time.
discussion over the right
And
mix.
the note-taking from Carol is extraordinary. And
I just wanted to say thank
And she
you
has
for
been the
that.
committee chair of that my hat's off to you, Amanda. You guys are, excellent.
Thank you. It has been a good, robust committee conversation, and we did have a lot of good conversation about the right mix of scale versus open-ended, and I think we've hit it with the survey, and we will continue to work on that going forward. Paper copies available at City Hall if anyone wants to stop by and fill that out here, because they don't do the internet, which respect, but you'll have to come to City Hall to fill out a paper survey. And we're also going to share that link directly with a number of other folks. We've already shared it with the general public. I will be sending it directly to community partners, which was a suggestion that came up in our last committee meeting. Employers, service organizations, and things like that in the city, so that we make sure that they get their input about what is represented for the city as well. And just to be clear, actually, nope, that's the next slide, so never mind. The last piece is we are also asking city employees to share their perspective on the challenges ahead for Barre City as well. So I forgot that I put a useful next slide that I wanted to say. Yes?
Is it possible we could put the survey out through Regroup?
I would love that. Yes, please. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
All right. So what are we asking in phase 1? All public input will call the outlines of questions that Dominic Cloud provided the committee that he has used to guide other city manager searches. So this is a tried and true set of questions. I think they're, by and large, really good questions. If you have a spare 2 hours in your life, I say to any member of the public watching, the recording of that first meeting is up on the city website. You can
And if you don't want to spend 2 hours, you can read the minutes.
You can read the minutes.
Capsulize.
Which, depending on how quickly you read, will take you significantly less than 2 hours. But if you really want to watch it, I really enjoyed that conversation. I thought it was a really good, thoughtful conversation with Dom. So he's tried and true questions. There's sort of 3 categories of questions on the strengths, the challenges, and the potential of Barre City. And across all of these different public input opportunities, committee members are splitting up the work. We are a public body. We are responsible for open meeting, paying attention to open meeting requests. So the Courier Park and the Zoom meeting are not warned meetings of the committee. There will only be 2 or so committee members in those, simply getting feedback from folks. They are public opportunities, and we will share the results of that information with the public. The public forum on Thursday night is a warned special meeting of the committee. So that will be a sort of officially recorded and sort of noted meeting. We will summarize everything that we receive and pass it on to Dom so that he can incorporate into the material he is committing, and we are on track for him to be posting a full job description, city profile, and candidate profile, and begin more active, potentially recruiting at the end of next week, which is very early in this process, he and I had a short phone call, and he said, if you think we can maybe be in a place to post the job posting by the end of June or the first week of July, we'll be in really good shape, and we're on track pretty much to be at the very early end of what he had said as a hoped for timeline. I was hoping we could beat that by getting the job description out early, but he wants, his recommendation was that we do a really, really thorough job on the city profile and the candidate profile to attract the best candidates possible, so that they can really understand what we are looking for. Next slide, please. Next steps, as I said, review the city and candidate profiles with Dom on 6/25, and we expect to post the job after that. In July, we'll sort of, as we wait for applications to come in, we'll do the phase 2 public outreach, which will follow, I would expect, a similar pattern, and ask questions about organizational challenges, leadership and skills, and first-year priorities, sort of the second half of the questions that Dom has shared, and those will help guide the review of applications. That is that.
Thank you. Any questions, council? All right, thank you very much.
I would encourage everyone who is watching along or might be writing about this in the newspaper to go to the city website, to the city manager search landing page, which we are keeping pretty regularly updated with all the information, and to please reach out at any time to members of the committee who are listed on that page with any input or questions or anything that you might have.
Okay, thank you. Council will move on to item 9, upcoming business. I'd ask you to please mark your calendars for Monday, the 22nd at 6 p.m. I'll be warning a special meeting at the Moutois. Specifically, we'll be discussing creation of a North End master plan and our North End vision. So it's going to be 22nd at Monday, the 22nd. Try to accommodate it. It's hard when you try to work with everybody's schedule, so I just got to pull the trigger, set the date, and what I'd like to do going forward is have at least one meeting a month in the North End. It could be a council meeting, just try to engage a little bit more. So 6 p.m. Monday the 20th, you'll get the warning. I'll get the warning to the clerk tomorrow, and you'll get that warning. Is there anything else the council would like to see on upcoming business? Yes.
Just an update on the Public Works Garage, where we're at and where we're looking on maybe even potentially a paving schedule, and what the residents could look to expect this summer.
For the paving schedule?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, so just to be clear, and I'm not trying to pick a fight, we talking about paving or potholes? Because at some point, listen, at some point, we got to get a little creative. And I was going to talk to, my nephew owns Johnson Paving. I'm not trying to drum up business for him. He's got plenty. But I know that paving companies, when it rains, they can't pave. They can fill potholes, but they can't pave. And most paving companies don't fill potholes. They pave parking lots, they pave driveways. And I don't know if it would help if we could reach out to some paving companies and say, look, if you have a rain afternoon and you've got some hot mix and you can jump to the city, we'll start giving you a list of potholes to, because the streets paving budget is when we increased it. People are going to see more paving. The manager will be reaching out to Secretary Flynn about South Main and Washington. We're going to see more of that. But the complaints that I get more of are just the potholes. But when you've got guys, installing water mains and prepping streets and installing storm, we can't really pull them off of that work.
Right.
Because if we do, if we pull them off of that, then we can't pave. Right. We can't pave the big street. So yeah, we'll have a creative discussion about how we get the streets a little more shipshape.
I just want an update, that's all, so residents are aware.
It's fair, but we should probably throw a potholes update in there.
Certainly.
Anybody want to learn how to fill potholes? It could be we could spend an hour, we could do it at 5 every Tuesday. Spend an hour filling potholes. It might be, I don't want to say fun. Yes, Councilor Spaulding.
I have a question about the, when Connie Godin was on earlier and was asking about, enforcing ordinances. And, I wonder if we could just have a conversation about that, because this is the second complaint I've heard about Jake breaks. And I also saw an article in BT Digger earlier this week about motorbikes, and there is a law against riding them on sidewalks. And so I just wonder if we could have a conversation maybe with the police chief about how to enforce those, or what we could do to be helpful.
Yep, about Jake breaks and you're talking about, I think I saw the same article, e-motorcycles, not e-bikes.
Yeah.
The ones that are higher speed.
Yeah, the ones that are e-bikes have pedals, and these other ones are basically like motorcycles, and they're being sold to young people. And I don't have anything against them, but I think they should be on the road and not on sidewalks.
Yeah, nope, absolutely. Okay, I'll get that on there.
Thank you.
Okay, looks like we're up to roundtable. Councilor Deering.
Tomorrow's the last day of school for Barre City Middle Elementary. What a beautiful year. We had graduation for 8th grade last night, as well as another session tonight. So just lots of beautiful moments at the end of the year, lots of celebrations. So I'll give you my yearly reminder. Drive safe. School is going to be out tomorrow.
Cool. Councilor Hogan.
Yes.
Okay.
I have two things. The one coming up faster is the project that has consumed my work life for a year now. The new exhibit will be opening with the Vermont Historical Society at the museum in Montpelier on July 3rd, and that features 50 objects that tell 250 years of Vermont stories. It's going to be a huge, gorgeous new book and a new exhibit. That's what I spent 12 hours yesterday moving objects over. You haven't lived until you've moved a 200-year-old table in a U-Haul and sweated through that stress level. So I would encourage everyone, certainly I would be delighted if you engaged with the exhibit, but also just, we are coming up on the 4th of July and the 250th anniversary, technically July 3rd, but we celebrated on July 4th, of the Declaration of Independence. So please reflect on the stories that make up the history of America. And another thing, I am organizing an event on July 18th at the Social Club that is a Barre City Quilting Bee. The material for it will be going out on Front Porch Forum tomorrow, and that is we are seeking people who have experience sewing and scrap fabric, any extra fabric. If you've ever sewed, you have extra fabric. That will be donated to it, and then people will spend the day stitching together quilts for Circle, which supports people who have experienced domestic violence. They've sent us a request list for certain sizes and types of quilts, and by the end of the day, we will the goal is to fill that request list. So there'll be a sign-up form going out shortly, and if you want to spend the day sewing with other like-minded people and creating quilts, I think this is going to be a really fun day. So July 18th, and all the information will go out in Front Porch Forum tomorrow. I've made a note to do that. So.
That's it?
That's it.
Councilor
Thank you.
Bergeron.
All passed, thank you.
Councilor Ruthier.
Hats off to the Public Works Department. They had a big issue on Berlin Street in the north end, and they cleaned it up very nice, paved it well, and it looks really good, so.
Awesome. I don't think, do we need an executive session?
Councilor Spaulding?
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Spaulding, I forgot about you. I apologize.
Okay, I passed. Thank you.
Thank you. We do not need an executive session. Motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, we are adjourned. Thank you, folks.